Ooh, I'm coming in right from behind.
Timer is pretty.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Off the Shelf. We are running Dusk City Outlaws again, a game that is on Kickstarter right now, and it's pretty much one of my favorite RPG games that I played in a long time. Our friend Rodney Thompson has developed it. You know him from being a developer on D&D 5th Edition, helping develop a Lords of Waterdeep and several other games that you've played. I think everybody that's gotten a chance to play this has absolutely fallen in love with it. So I'll give it away to the guys. I've already played through on a stream, so I wanted to open it up to some more players to see what their reactions were and see how they went through the heist scene. And so let's introduce everybody, and let's get this game rolling. All right, enjoy, everyone.
Shockingly, we have exactly the number of character sheets we need.
Ooh. Excellent.
So I am Derek, and I'm going to run the game this time. So why don't we go across the table and introduce ourselves?
Right. I'm Christy. I'm here to play. I've never played this before.
I'm Joe. I have also not played this before.
I'm Miguel. I have never played this before either.
All right, excellent.
3 noobs.
So nobody knows what they're doing.
Hopefully Derek
Perfect.
does.
We'll figure it out.
That'll be fine.
So this is a fantasy heist game. Okay, so imagine that we are in like a fantasy metropolis that is kind of on the scale of Manhattan, but is like a mix of New York and Venice. So it's large, it's sprawling, it's anachronistically big. Fantasy skyscraper-ish almost kind of thing. Built with alchemical methods and things like that. But canals cutting through and various districts and the nobility ruling over it and that kind of stuff. You all play members of the cartels that have divided up the criminal underground, basically, amongst yourselves. So each of the cartels kind of has their own culture, their own history, things like that, with like a particular kind of proclivity or kind of a subset of crimes that you guys are best at and things like that. So character creation is going to be very simple and straightforward because you're going to pick a cartel, and the cartel is going to kind of establish some of your culture, what you look like, just kind of defaults about you. And then you're going to pick your specialty. And your specialty is going to determine basically what your skills and most of your mechanics are. That's going to be the job that you do in the crew. So you might be the brawler, who's responsible for taking out crowds when things go wrong. Or you might be the basher, who's responsible for cracking the safe. Or you might be the grifter, who just needs to get people to go along with the con or something like that. And you're going to take your cartel, you're going to take your specialty, you're going to put them together, come up with a name, you're done. Character creation's over.
Woohoo.
Cool.
Okay, so it's the intent of this is that you pick it up off the shelf and you go. So you don't belabor. There's not a whole lot of customization rules-wise. You're supposed to just kind of see how it works out in play, basically. If anybody has any questions about it, obviously let us know, or let me know. But I'm going to start cartels at one end, and we're going to start the specialties at the other end. Okay? So don't worry super overall much about the mechanics, nor would I say worry super much about picking a crew that hits all the things you might want to hit. Ultimately, the job is kind of a sandbox where you're just given a task to do, and you can decide to do it violently if you're all stabby people, or you could decide to do it very subtly if you're all face-type folks.
Kind of like that one so far.
And the other thing that I should probably say, especially for benefit of the stream, is that specifically because this is a preview game, I might, where I feel it's kind of appropriate, take a moment to kind of pull the GM screen back a little bit, and just kind of show people how the system works and things like that.
That looks like you.
So they kind of know what they're getting into, because this is on Kickstarter right now. We're trying to help Rodney out by giving it some promotion so people can see it in action. So every now and then we might be a little more obvious and apparent than we otherwise would be. The other thing to say is that this is Rodney's game in development, and I did not write it or design it or anything like that. So I am running from largely his print and play, which is available in the Kickstarter, and That means that, like any RPG, it's me running what seems to be, to me, the most appropriate interpretation of things. So it's entirely possible that later on, if Rodney's feeling better, because I hear he's under the weather right now,
Oh.
he might just kind of Kool-Aid Man into the stream and tell me I'm doing everything wrong and take over.
Excellent.
We can only hope that might happen.
There's more of those. And I can choose based on like the first 2 sentences, right? That's cool.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like, for the specialties, in most cases, the name of the special... Yeah, of course you picked an alchemist. In most cases, the name of the specialty should be pretty clear as to what it does.
Yeah.
I think, like, the basher is maybe the one that isn't quite as obvious, but in a lot of cases, it should be pretty straightforward.
It was either the alchemist or the mastermind.
All right, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, assassin.
Atta girl. Kill the things.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right.
I broke my straw.
You broke your straw?
No, I think you bent it. It doesn't...
No, it doesn't work.
All right, can we get
Put it the other way.
Stat, can we get a replacement straw?
He's got this. We're
Oh,
fine.
my God.
Getting into character already. Oh wait, no, you're an alchemist.
We'll pretend it was my knife.
All right, so why don't we... for your character sheets, just to let you know a few things in your character info. First, we'll go over the cartel, and I'm not going to look at the mummers because the mummers are... so let's look at the family. Family's pretty classic. So if you take your cartel sheet, okay, you'll see one side with the picture will show you basically what the cartel's like, okay? It gives you a little bit of description at the top. It gives you the appearance, okay? The appearance is important because that tells you where you are conspicuous, all right? And if you guys attempt to go do something in an area where you would be conspicuous, you will generate more heat. Heat is a resource that I use to make your life more interesting and entertaining. Things you know about are like areas where your experience and the cartels and things like that would just kind of tip you off to stuff. Just things you're going to know about in general. Like Vespers, for example, are high society criminals. So they know about the nobility because they're just used to going around the nobility.
That's where we hang out.
So in a lot of cases, I might say, does anybody know about the nobility? And you will say, yeah, great.
Yes.
And then what I would do is, it might be an NPC who's a noble, and I'm just going to give you like a couple key like factoids that you can just run with for free without having to spend time discovering it in play, basically. And then finally, it's going to have spending influence and like a little special power at the bottom. In front of each of you should be a little coin. We might want to hold up to maybe the camera in front of me, if you don't mind, Miguel. So these are the influence coins, and these are prototype, so it's going to change a little bit.
Oh, that camera.
Yeah,
All right.
I got my own camera. I'm special. So these are prototype coins. I think Rodney's working with campaign coins on them. These are the influence. You guys all start with 1. You can get more influence by doing awesome, crazy, fun stuff that we all think is super cool. And you spend influence to do things. Generally, you can just spend it to accomplish a thing that seems reasonable for exerting your influence kind of over the world, calling in favors, things like that. Each of the cartels has a list of things that are particularly appropriate for that cartel. Like Vespers, again, I'm just going to keep pointing at you because the Vespers have some really easy things to pull off of, or examples. Like the Vespers can spend an influence to just get the use of a den of vice and iniquity, basically. So you need to have you got a plan where you really need to have a house of ill repute where you can kind of run it out of. Great, you spend an influence and then you kind of take it over.
Cool.
You can spend influence outside of that realm. So if any of you have a thing where you're like, you know what, I really just want to like call in a favor from a buddy. Can I do that? Let's talk about it. Let's see what's feasible. And then finally, you'll have a little ability at the bottom. It's usually some advantage dice when doing something that's appropriate for your group. For example, the Vespers, you'll get some advantage dice every time you're talking to nobles and stuff like that. So that's your cartel. And again, your cartel is a community and a culture, all that kind of stuff. for your specialty, you're going to start out with some equipment. If you guys feel you need to have something that's not in there, let me know. We can talk about it. You have like probably 2 to 4-ish abilities that are mechanical or quasi-mechanical. Some, depending on what kind of your role you have, it might be like a key for combat, or it might just be, here's a thing you can do or something like that. They should all be relatively straightforward, but you will want to make sure that you've read them, because sometimes you can only use them during legwork scenes or planning scenes or things like that. And then finally, there's a section that just says skills. Okay, you're going to have a list of skills that all seem appropriate to your specialty. They should all be relatively straightforward, but if you have any questions about what any of them might do, let me know. The most important thing is all of you have anything else at 50%. Okay,
Cool.
So you guys are all
I'm
highly trained,
very sneaky.
adept, professional criminals or adventurers, depending on how you want to characterize yourself. But all of you are really good at your job, and you can all try out stuff at a 50-50 chance. So, when you're going into a fight or you're going into a situation, the assassin suddenly has to start smooth talking their way past some guards. Don't immediately just close up and assume you can't do it. Maybe give it a shot. And then if it goes south, you can stab everyone in the face.
Yeah.
And then on the back is going to be some kind of basic rules information. On the back of the cartel sheet, by the way, are a bunch of sample suggested names, as well
good.
as sample suggested characters, where if you want to play these character types, combine, it'll say like combine the specialty with this thing to get this, archetype from this cartel. So, to focus on the characters, now that you guys have had a little bit of time with your characters, I also gave all of you a little pink standee that you can fold in half and write your character name on. Joe, it looks like you have a character name, so I'm going to pick on you first. So fill that out. And then what we're going to do is Dusk City Outlaws is a fairly structured game as far as how it's going to unfold and things like that. All right, I know where this is going. So what's going to happen is first we're going to start with the character introduction, okay? We're playing a heist movie game. So the first thing that happens is we have the montage credit sequence where we get to be introduced to all of your characters. All right? So this is a chance for you as a player to say, hey, this is my character. I'm going to narrate a scene that's going to show you something weird about my character, whether it's a special thing they do or a tick they have or how nice they are to old ladies crossing the street. Even though they're criminals, they still have a heart of gold. This is your chance to kind of get that characterization across, basically. And then we're going to go into like segments in the actual play. Okay? So first we'll do introductions. Then you'll get the job. Then we're going to go into planning phases or legwork phases. Okay? So the game is divided into segments, day and night segments. Each day and night segment you can choose to be either a legwork phase or planning phase or, hit go, mission is ready, launch the missiles, we're attacking now. And each of those segments, every time you guys pass a segment, I'm going to get 1 heat for each player, and that just generally reflects kind of the rising tension in the city as the story goes on. So when you have a segment, you can decide whether it's going to be a planning segment, in which case you get 15 real-world minutes to talk. That's it.
Ooh.
Okay? So you can't debate ad nauseum about what you want to do. You kind of got to move on with your life. You got 15 minutes to talk about what you want to do. Then when you go into a legwork segment, each of you is going to have the opportunity to lead 1 scene. Okay? So you're going to have your own scene. You're going to decide what you want it to do. Presumably it's going to build towards your goal of whatever your ultimate mission is. On the back of your little sheet here, it should explain how legwork scenes work. You pick something you want out of the scene. It's a goal you want to accomplish, an item you want to gather, something you want to set up. It's usually going to be like pieces you want to put together to accomplish your end result. You decide, we talk about where it's going to be, who you're going to interact with, things like that. And then we do it. And it can be extremely abstract if you guys don't want to role play or we don't feel like there's too much complication or interest there. We can just maybe have some rolls, you accomplish the task, we move on. Again, it can be a very montage-like thing. Or, depending on how much heat I spend to complicate the matter, or depending on how you guys botch things as you're going through the process, it might devolve into a very typical role-playing session where we're going back and forth over everything. Once you guys have set your plan up, you then say, great, let's enact the plan. We move into the actual pulling the plan off, and the heist goes, and you cross your fingers in hopes that everything works out properly. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. For mechanics, again, your skills, they're percentiles. You're just trying to roll equal to or lower than that skill. So if you've got a 90% in
Sneak around.
sneak around, you got a 90% chance of sneaking around. Okay. I might add complication or advantage or disadvantage dice, depending on how good or bad the situation seems to be, or if someone's helping you, or things like that.
Those.
Yep, these are advantage dice. Advantage dice are D8s. They got a 50-50 chance of coming up good. Okay. Disadvantage dice are D10s. They got a 60% chance of coming up bad. Okay. We'll get to that when it actually comes up. But so we are now in the credit sequence of our movie. So we're going to go around the table. Who wants to go first to introduce their character? Somebody's got to do
ready?
it.
I haven't gotten to know my guy yet, so why
Alright.
don't we start over there on that side of the
I have
table?
a vague idea.
Okay.
So, Karina, for those who know her, what
So
she
we have
actually
have
does.
Christy as
Oh yes, as Karina Delaclure.
Karina Delaclure.
Yes, and fancy lady as far as most people know. Steals money on the side and thinking kind of Robin Hood-esque,
Okay. But with a lot of murder.
but with a lot of murder. I mean, bad people gotta die. And then, so there's, her public profile that everybody knows her as. A few people know all the murder part, and then even fewer people know that half the money goes to, orphans and such.
Okay. So in your introductory scene, what is Karina Delaclure doing? How do we see her character? How will we introduce to her?
How does the nobility hang out? Do they do fancy parties?
Sure.
Yeah, hanging out at a fancy party.
Great. So there's a fancy party. Karina Delaclure is there. Is she here to take out a target? She's an assassin after all. Great. So
Yeah.
what are you doing at this party? Are you like a wait staff? Are you another guest? Are you
She's
the
a
singer?
guest.
So you're another guest.
Yeah.
Who are you here to kill?
I don't know. I don't know enough about the world.
Just make it up. Don't worry about it.
All right, just here to kill.
All right. So you're here to kill a faceless general. Let's say.
All right.
Great. He's going to die. We don't need to know his name. We just need to know that you're a badass.
Yes.
So how do you kill
I'm
this
going to
faceless
kill him.
general?
If I can get him alone, just
Okay.
stab him.
All right.
I have
so,
lots of knives.
Sure. And just to be clear, like a lot of this, we're very fluid with narration here.
All right.
But, if the player, if any of you are not sure what you want to do, feel free to toss it out for other people to add suggestions or ideas or things like that. If people do have a clear idea, let them do their thing. This their scene. But if you don't know, just be like, I don't know. Let's just do it. So, assuming you don't have a better idea, you're here to kill the general. Okay. We as the audience don't know who the general is, but we can tell by the way that he has a giant cigar and how he's scowling at the waitstaff that he's just a jerk
Total
and needs to
jerk.
die. So, we have this amazing scene of, you walking up in the finest dress, maybe catching his eye, whispering in his ear that, there's something that you would definitely need to tell him out on the balcony.
Out on the balcony alone.
Yep.
That's very
So
important.
you go out there, and the noise of the party fades away, and you're on the balcony. And do you just coldly stab him? Do you push him over the edge? Great. All right. So yeah. So you lean in, and he's like, yes, yes. And then you just stab him, and let him fall over the railing, and then you go back into the party. And that is Karina Delaclure.
Very nice.
How about you,
Claude Von Boom.
Claude Von Boom?
So, a spontaneous street performance with my troupe. We are all with masks, bright orange outfits.
Because you are a mummer for the audience at home, which is totally not a mime.
I have set up a fairly extensive pyrotechnics show
Okay.
that I am My troop is taking over for me as I slip into the back, pull off my mask where I have my face painted black, strip off my clothing, and slip into the jewelry store that was my actual target. As I carefully line the doorway with explosive materials, and then rub a silencer over that, igniting that. The door pops open.
And of course, that ignition is right at the moment where like fireworks are going off in front too.
Timed. I've got everything timed with the performance. So, boom out there, boom at the door. Door comes off in my hand slightly. Lay it quietly down to the side. Stroll in as the alarm starts to sound.
Loud music.
Loud music. Stroll towards the back. Another wipe of the explosive material. Wait. 3, 2, 1. Loud clamor. Boom. Vault door falls down. Walk in. Take my gold. And stroll out, leaving the fire and waste. Somebody else will deal with that. Not my job.
All right. So we know that you like exploding things, and you really don't like cleaning up afterwards.
Nope.
Okay. This will go well.
This will go perfectly.
I feel like your character and my character are completely opposites. You like to steal things with loud bangs. I like to do it as quietly as possible, while still leaving a call mark behind, like a calling mark. I leave little. I leave behind cards with my nickname on it, which is Paco, because my real name is too long for most people. My real name is Pedro Francisco de la Vega Dominguez III, so just call me Paco. People who I've worked with know my real name, and I always try to interrupt them because I hate my real name, and I try to separate myself from my father.
So do we have a scene like that where someone's like trying to, oh, I've heard of you, and they try to say a whole name, and you're just like, no, it's Paco.
It's just Paco, solo Paco. Every now and then I drop a little bit of the old language in, but I always interrupt people. I don't let anyone ever tell me the plan, so usually things get done the bad way. But it's kind of like the black cat. He's very unlucky, but it always ends up working in his favor.
Okay.
And he's just gotten this reputation of being a master thief, but he really has no idea how he does it. But he knows that he can do it.
Okay.
And that's Paco.
Okay. All right, so this is the crew you have established. You guys can come up with a crew name at some point if you would like. You can do that now, or you can shout Eureka when the moment of inspiration strikes you as you are stumbling through whatever horrible mishap you have set up for yourselves. But you are embarking on the jailbreak job, which we'll see. I think that the previous live stream may have done this job, so the audience might get a chance to see how adventures can be run very differently. Because
we shouldn't just blow off the door.
Well, hey, I'm not going to put any limits on you. You do you.
Oh, that was in character.
Adventures in Dust City Outlaws are not structured like, say, a typical D&D adventure. There's not a dungeon to crawl through. There's not even like a sequence of scenes that are supposed to happen in chronological order. It's supposed to be very sandboxy in the sense that you're given a target. The adventure for the GM has a variety of elements in it with facts about them that allow me, hopefully, to react to whatever weirdo, crazy plan you guys end up coming up with. But that will mean that there's a lot of loose ends or a lot of threads you could try to pull upon if you want to. You may not get them all.
Yeah.
And that does mean that, especially the other thing is, as the game goes on, I'm going to be collecting heat, and I'm going to be spending heat to introduce things, and that's where a lot of the challenge from the game might come from. So how I choose to spend the heat for any given session can change the way that the game has unfolded. I ran it 4 times, I think, at a convention the other weekend, and I managed to make it different every time by spending heat for very, very different outcomes each time. So, we start with you guys getting the job. So the crew comes together at Long Shadow Mortuary, a dusty old manor whose basements are used for the preparation and storage of corpses before being transferred to a funeral parlor. None of you are grave diggers, which is another one of the cartels. So you may not be as familiar or comfortable with dead bodies, or you're used to the recently deceased. The longer
I
ones,
mean, I might
up to
recognize
you.
some people, but yeah.
The air inside is musty and smells of decay, and the flickering candles give off a sickly green light, barely illuminating the peeling wallpaper and lightly corroded iron candle holders. Your broker is a dour gravedigger by the name of Cyrus Umbervale, who looks more like a walking corpse than a man. He informs you that one of his best cleaners, Elvinius Grimes, has been missing for quite some time. He missed a number of his shifts recently, and they have just discovered that Master Grimes has been arrested for the crime of intervening in the affairs of the crown. He is currently in jail in the 14th Royal Precinct House in High Road County, a commoner's district. So Mr. Umbervale informs you that Master Grimes will be transferred into secure crown custody in less than a day. And tomorrow at dawn, a new squad will come and pick him up from the precinct. And seeing as time is urgent, we felt it necessary to call in, and he looks at all of you, the professionals, before we had a chance to fully determine the circumstances of both his capture and his current internment. But I'm sure that you all are more than up to the task of rescuing Mr. Grimes, keeping him unharmed, and were you to have the opportunity to embarrass the crown along the way, that would be most appreciated.
It's always a bonus.
Yes, indeed. Now, do you have any questions
How
for
much does
me?
it pay?
It pays a lot of abstract money.
Paco
Excellent.
asks, "What's the job?" I wasn't really paying attention.
Well, don't worry, because we have plenty of time to explain it to you again. You need to rescue Alvinius Grimes from the 14th Royal Precinct in High Road County before he is transferred into secure crown custody tomorrow at dawn.
Okay.
So, rules-wise, or game-wise, the most jobs will have some sort of time limit to keep you focused, but not all of them are necessarily going to be this fast. Part of the reason that this is set up this way is this is supposed to be a straightforward, simple job that you can get done in 2 hours. We will see,
We'll see
if that's
how
the
simple
case.
we leave it.
But that's part of why the time limit is so compressed. So what that means is you will have only 2 segments, 1 day and 1 night segment, before you have to kind of kick off your job, basically. Okay? So that means that presumably you'll have a planning segment and a legwork segment, but we can discuss that. But this is your chance to ask any other questions you might have of Cyrus Umbervale. And your score, your mission is retrieve this guy from prison.
Break in and steal a person.
Yes.
Unharmed.
Well, a bonus is if you can leave him completely unharmed during the process. Another bonus is if you can embarrass the crown along the way.
Oh, I'll embarrass someone.
Someone's going to get embarrassed, whether it's us wearing a crown or not.
And what sort of facility is this person being held in?
It's basically like a kind of a county jail situation.
And how are they being transported?
Unfortunately, we did not have the opportunity to determine all of the parameters before we called you in. We presume that you will be able to adapt to the situation as needed. That would be something that you could spend a legwork phase on to investigate, things like that. You can make some basic assumptions that a squad of guys will show up, but beyond that, you're not entirely sure.
Do we know, or can we find out from this person, how many people are guarding him and what the shift
That's-
is like, or is that legwork?
No, that would normally be legwork.
Yeah.
Do any of you know about jails and prisons?
And that would be on the red one.
Yep.
Under things you know about.
Yep, under things you know about. It's on the other side. Other side. The other side. There you go. Yep, under things you know about.
No.
Okay.
He's not currently being held by nobles in the royal
Nope.
family, so I think no.
Does anybody know about the right kind of people?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What are the right
Oh.
kind of people?
I
know a guy?
Yeah, well, no. So the right kind of people is the euphemism for you lot. Okay? So the right kind of people are members of the cartels, kind of people who are, if this were a wuxia film, it would be people who live in the world of martial arts. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. The people of action,
If
basically.
we don't know the answers, we know people who know the answers.
Kinda. Right kind of people is like adventurers, that kind of thing. So knowing about the right kind of people and kind of thinking about the situation, Alvinius Grimes actually does kind of tickle the back of your mind. He's a funeral parlor worker and a cleaner, which is somebody who's responsible for coming through and getting rid of evidence in the scene of a crime, basically.
Yeah, the people who come after you.
Yes. Well, this would make sense. Perhaps Alvinius Grimes actually cleaned up after you multiple times. So he's in his early 30s. He's dour, quiet, and unassuming. He's been working with the Gravediggers for about a decade or so and has never occasioned much comment. He's the most efficient but unambitious cleaner out there. He's worked for the same funeral parlor, Long Shadow Mortuary, and that's why the name of this funeral parlor suddenly seems so familiar to you. For the entire times he's been with the Gravediggers and is extremely reliable. One of his most positive traits as far as the right kind of people are concerned is that he is visually wholly unremarkable. The kind of person that you might miss if you were looking right at him in a crowd if you weren't knowing exactly what to look for. And he is the member of a regular crew, which, kind of like an adventuring party thing, is what you guys presumably are, that calls themselves the Four Horse Persons.
The 4 horse persons. Now,
Right.
is it common for the different cartels to join together like this?
Sure. I mean, a lot of the details of the setting I haven't, because I've play tested some sessions with Rodney, but I haven't read as much through the details of the setting, so I don't know how much he necessarily goes into that. But kind of the way that it works, the cartels have all divided up their own thing, but they're going to end up, few crimes only kind of touch on one thing.
Right.
If someone runs a drug den, they need to have someone smuggle in the drugs and things like that. They need to have someone perform the entertainment. They need to have someone take out the people who are getting too violent, things like that. So cartel interests are going to cross over naturally. And then there's, I believe it's like the Black Council or the Black Circle that oversees cartel interests. And if a major job goes down and they all have an agent on that job, it makes sure that everyone is still informed of what is happening, basically. So there's a lot of setting reasons you could hand wave that, these totally different friendly competing factions have people working together.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? Are you ready to go deal with Alvinius Grimes?
Paco's never ready, but that's what makes him so efficient.
You just figure it out as you go.
Yep.
Very good.
He's never ready.
He doesn't know
so
why he's
being
so good
ready
at his
never
job.
gets in his way. He's never over-prepared for the task at hand.
He doesn't like to think too much about anything.
That's okay, I got that.
You can do the
So,
thinking.
unless you have anything else to ask of Master Umbervale, he would say, time is of the essence. The dead can wait, but Alvinius Grimes cannot.
All right. Let's have at it.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we are now going to enter, I'm assuming, a planning phase where you guys can come up with a plan. So you will have 15 real-world minutes in which you can come up with a plan. You're going to want to sort things out. We're going to, after this, presumably, we will go into a legwork phase where, again, each of you will have the opportunity to do one thing to take a step towards putting your plan in motion. So what you want to do during this planning phase is come up with at least one very clear plan to execute. You want to rescue him, come up with a way to do that, And then your legwork phase will be putting things in place to actually accomplish that task. Okay? Going into the legwork phase is going to be a lot easier for all of you. If you kind of spend the planning phase and be like, great, here's our plan. Okay, you're going to go do this, you're going to go do that, I'm going to go do this, so that everybody knows what's happening. During your legwork phase, any and all of you can go on each mission. It's assumed that you guys have a chance to meet up with each other and trade notes and things like that. Some of you may or may not want to go with each other depending on whether you're going to be conspicuous or not, things like that. If you go, you can help out. If you don't go, you can always decide that, it would actually be really helpful for me to be there. You can just spend 20 luck and then show up in the scene just by, just in the nick of time kind of thing. So there's a lot of fluidity about whether you can be involved or not. But the important thing is that the story is not going to happen to you. You're going to want to go into your legwork scene with a plan of what you're going to accomplish. Does that make sense? Great. So we are now going to initiate 15 minutes.
Is that a 15-minute timer?
Well, we're going to find out because I also set a timer on my phone.
Very good.
Okay.
All right.
But that's way prettier.
So
Right.
the first thing that I typically would end up doing is casing the joint.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get a good sense of where everything is, how many guards,
Yep. How often do they change over?
guard shifts, and so forth.
Okay.
And then obviously I would get that information to you guys in the way Paco does.
So does that mean that Paco was good at casing a joint?
Yes.
Great. So sounds like Paco.
I am
Yes,
too.
he does have that as
Yep,
that-
it does
that
indeed
ability.
have that as a skill.
Are you good at that?
Nope.
Paco
All right.
might size or case the joint for his legwork scene. The rest of you can go along, but that's what he's gonna lead. So
Sounds good.
because of the tighter time frame here, because you only have 2 segments, you might want to come up with what your guys' legwork scenes are going to be once you know that thing. So what plan do you have to actually get Grimes out?
Okay, so we want to embarrass the crown.
You
So,
got 3 heat.
No.
so embarrassing would be to rescue the prisoner mid-transport when it's most visible out in the open. We will have wanted to have rescued him already.
Yeah. Hopefully we can rescue him before that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
if, say, whatever they're carrying him happens to explode into a giant ball of cotton candy,
That would be amusing.
but he's already gone, so they're going to
Yeah.
go investigate that, but we'll have taken him out before that.
I like that.
So it sounds like you're saying rescue him and then plant a bomb on the transportation mechanism.
Rescue him without people knowing that we have rescued him so that they try to transport a cotton candy bomb.
Yep.
Note for your alchemy, you need to decide what you're going to do during a planning sequence, I believe.
All right, so
You don't need to decide now. You guys still have like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like some of your abilities, I think the alchemist and like the fixer and stuff like that, you need to use those abilities during planning sequences or during legwork sequences, things like that.
So we want to rescue Grimes while he's on the way to the prison. So or he's already in the prison.
No, he's in jail.
he's in a holding
He's
cell
going to be transported
Yeah.
to prison.
Okay.
And what Claude Von Boom has suggested is you rescue him under the nose of the crown, let them transport something that they think is him.
now, or someone, because, well,
Yeah.
he is completely nondescript, so we just find some random schmuck. Anybody got somebody on their hit list that they need to get rid of?
Oh, I'm sure I do.
Probably
Two
the
birds, one
assassin.
stone.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I can create a disguise most of the time.
All right. So we need to we need a way in to the holding cell. We need a way out with him from the holding cell and a way to swap out for your guy.
I can get in there without being noticed.
Okay.
I can get him out. I can lock.
Well, if
I
you
can,
kill
I
all the
can-
people watching him, it's very easy to get him out.
And then I'll leave the embarrassing parts to you guys afterwards. I can try to get in there. I can try
I
to
could
get
come
him
with
out.
you and help with the killing people. I'm very good at that.
I work best when no one's looking, including the people that I'm stealing from. So I use my family's influence to. I can pay them off, if need be, to not be around, so that it's easier to get them out. Like the people can always be bought with money, so we can always pay off guards as well.
So killing is a backup plan then.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's more embarrassing to the crown than letting them know how easy their men can be bought off?
Good point. All right. So perhaps my legwork scene then is going to get some other schmuck on my list that looks kind of like this guy to swap out.
Yep.
Yep.
And then I will prepare the cotton candy bomb, and we go in together to get them out. In case something happens, then we'll just set stuff on fire.
Well, so your cotton candy bomb, you can just create it by
Yep.
spending your influence during the planning sequence. So what's your legwork phase going to be? So basically, when you spend influence, it usually isn't so that you can go do something. It's so that it just happens and you don't need to worry about it.
Well then. Okay.
So keep
so
that
you
in
can
mind
do
too.
something
You
else.
guys have influence you can spend on stuff. So make sure that you know what your cartel's influence can buy you. But I believe for your alchemist ability in particular, it just says during a planning sequence or something like that.
You can create
Yep.
one.
Great. So then what that means is that you don't have to spend a legwork phase
Okay.
creating an alchemy thing. You just get the alchemy
just do
thing,
it.
and then you can spend your legwork phase putting it in the carriage, doing something else, whatever you feel you need to do to get the mission done.
So a question. This says convince members of the City Watch in a commoner district to look the other way for the duration of a single scene.
Ooh.
Could I theoretically walk into that holding cell, talk to the guards there, convince them all to pretend that I was never in there and Grimes was never in there, and then just walk out of there?
It depends on how many there are, and whether any of them are important and have names, basically. So you could spend the influence to have a couple guards or maybe a small squad look the other way to allow you to do something. They probably wouldn't deny. I'm not sure if they would deny whether you were there at all. They certainly would not deny that Grimes was never there. But they might just look the other way and leave the door unlocked or something like that. But if their supervisor were there, or there were a lot of them, then that might be a little more tricky.
Okay.
Okay.
Fun.
And I will set up a safe house to hold Grimes while all of this is happening.
Yes.
So that. Yeah.
If there's any nobles involved, I have various ways to poison them if they need to go away. I don't know how many nobles are involved in this particular thing, though. We'll find out when he cases the joint.
Okay, well, so the thing to keep in mind is each of your legwork scenes should have a specific thing you want to get out of it. So if you're going to case the joint to get the lay of the land and figure out where everything is and who's doing what and whatnot, then your legwork scene won't be to get him out. Because presumably that's going to be the final launch of the plan. So it sounds like you're going to legwork to get the lay of the land and everything. So we probably want his scene to be first.
Yep.
And then you guys can adapt your legwork scenes as necessary. Your legwork scene is going to go to find somebody else to put in his place. Are you planning on murdering somebody, or are you going to convince somebody that it's in their best interest to be mistaken for a wanton criminal and sent to prison indefinitely?
It looks like I know a lot about poisons, or at least have people who do.
Sure.
Are there poisons in this world that, might just make someone groggy? Because we don't want him to look dead. They should be transporting someone who is still alive.
Sure.
But, not in control enough of their facilities to...
Sure.
Okay.
There's probably something appropriate. Acquiring that poison, unless it's listed on your equipment, would probably be a legwork phase.
Okay.
So you could spend it getting the poison, but you would still have to figure out who
How
to
to get
use it
the
on.
guy, yeah.
So
I
I'm
would
really
need
good
two
with dealing
legwork
with
phases.
merchants, so
Well, I mean, it could be 2 legwork phases, or you could cross your fingers and hope that you have, you could try to use it on a guard and change their clothes or something on site. It's just, how much do you want to rely on your luck
Yeah.
when you're in there? And then your legwork phase is just to find a safe house.
Find a safe house and Yeah, planting the bomb is and
Well, so preparing the bomb. You'll just get that.
That's done.
Yep.
planting it.
So you're planting it might be appropriate for your legwork phase, or it sounds like you guys have a plan to replace Grimes with
with
a
someone.
groggy individual who won't be able to protest that they are not Grimes.
At least not until
How
after
are
this
you
is all
connecting
done.
the bomb to their person?
Okay, so it says that I have that one of the things I can do is conceal an object.
Sure.
I can conceal an object on someone else, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Or in them, depending on how gruesome you want to be.
Yep,
Yep.
that's what I was thinking. In them.
Oh,
So is this a family show, or is this like a straight up Metal Gear Solid fanfic ripoff? Okay.
you can make the bomb, and I can plant the bomb. That is just something that I'm really good at. I'm really good at leaving things behind because it's on my character sheet. So when I pick someone's pocket, I can leave
I like
something
how
on
you're
their
basically
person.
saying one of my key skills is to forget stuff when I leave the room.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
Here's a pair of rubber gloves, and here's the bomb.
What bomb?
Yeah. So what does this bomb do?
It converts. It converts, transmutes one material into another. What are they transporting in?
You don't know.
I haven't cased the. I'm
Yeah, we don't know
assuming it's
yet.
going to be a covered steel wagon.
Your legwork scene could be to go find out what that is. It could be a reinforced carriage. It could be an armored gondola. You're not sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking like metal to candy.
Okay.
That is awesome.
All right. Just to translate that to the rest of you, when Cloud Von Boom says metal to candy, the rest of you hear metal to a very soft pinkish material, not advised for children or pregnant women to consume in any manner.
Nope.
So
It still has the same chemical properties. It's just finely woven cotton, pink cotton.
do you want to have your legwork scene be to get more information on that, or I mean, you're not sure yet. You could just kind of see what happens and go with the flow, basically.
Yeah, I think okay, so I'm going to assume that whatever that it is that's going to be transporting them is going to be metal.
Sure. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So you're gonna cross your fingers and wing it.
Yeah.
Great. So what is your legwork
Or at least
scene
have
then?
some metal parts. Or would it not work unless it was all metal?
Metal parts.
It was like wood attached with metal bits. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Then
Now, will this embarrass the crown?
Pink fluffy stuff.
pink fluffiness.
Covered in blood, depending on how
Yes.
we plant it.
Hence the rubber gloves.
Oh, thank you. My safety.
Yeah, you guys probably want to clarify whether you're inserting this into your target or whether he is simply finding a way to plant it on the carriage while the target is distracting the guard's attention. He should probably know that before he attempts to do so, because shoving a bomb up someone's butt or down their throat will probably attract more attention
That'll be
than leaving it
noticeable.
on the bench
Keep
next
in mind
to them.
how often Paco does not listen.
This will be great.
It's at your discretion.
As needed. So it doesn't like need blood in order to go off or anything.
I like how more and more of this plan is like, whatever needs to happen.
It's gonna happen when it needs to happen. All right, so first scene or first leg.
So what are we all doing on our first legwork scene? You're casing the joint?
casing the
Yep,
joint.
so he's
making sure I
casing the
know-
joint.
Okay.
You are trying to get poison.
Well, I wonder, tell me if this is right. Could I convince another member of my cartel to deliver a poison letter to this person and then instead use my legwork scene to go fetch said person?
Once you, sure. Once you've identified somebody you want to use a poison letter on, sure.
Okay.
That seems reasonable.
Awesome.
What you might want to do, though, is because this is the planning phase, so this is where you guys have a chance to debate everything you want. I would advise you that, because new information might tumble out of his details, I would advise you to come up with a fallback or two for what you might want to do with your legwork phase in case he uncovers something
That changes
that
it all.
changes your plan. So you guys will absolutely have a chance to reasonably discuss between legwork scenes. I'm not going to be a jerk and slam things down and say no talking. But you don't want to veer into an extended replanning or anything like that, because the plan, you want to stay kind of focused and on track.
Okay, I want to find out what route he's being taken in and find the safe house on that route. Oh, no, sorry. Other way from that route.
Okay.
So he will have been gotten. We will take him the other way
And
so that they're
craziness will happen in this direction.
hey, craziness is going to go that way. We want to be going this way.
Sure. I will point out that depending on what timeline do you see this happening on? Because if you get him out close enough to when he's supposed to be picked up and they're supposed to go the other way, you won't necessarily need a safe house.
Okay.
Yeah, like I want to make sure that you spend your legwork scene on something that like is a direct thing. Although if you're like, I just want to be 100% safe, I might then start spending heat to put pressure on your safe house kind of thing. Does that make sense? So, yeah, I mean, do you want to use your legwork scene to case things out and see what route they're taking? I mean,
and maybe find
it
out
really
what
doesn't matter. Once we've done it, then it's going to be going that way.
Sure.
So, yeah.
you could find out maybe what like the transport looks like.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So it sounds like we have hit 15 minutes. You have the vaguest of plans. You do not know what your legwork scene is.
Perfect.
So hopefully you can come up with something based off of how this works. So we have started a new segment. So I get 1 heat for each of you. Everyone stare at the timer. All right, good. So we now move into the legwork phase. And again, the way this is going to work is each of you will have a chance to lead 1 scene. Okay? So whoever's leading it is kind of the person in charge. It's their highlight scene. They're the ones who are going to determine the tangible thing they want to get out of the scene, where the scene is, and who they're interacting with in that scene to involve things. So let's start off relatively simply with casing the joint. So, Paco, you want to get information about the lay of the land, basically, from this scene, correct?
Yes. So Paco, he can literally get into any building in the city. He just does that. But I want to make sure that these guys can get in if they need to.
Sure. Well, so that would be the next question of, he's going to go case the joint, but what I'm asking is, how are you planning on doing it? Are you going to walk around outside and then walk in the front door with a cover story? Are you going to sneak in the back? Are you going to, just observe? Are you going to pay somebody off? What is your method for getting this information?
I am going to walk up to a guard
Yep.
and ask him if he can give me a tour, because I am very interested about the historical importance of this building.
Okay. It is also the middle of the night now, by the way. But that's fine. I mean, this is Manhattan.
Oh, this is the middle of the night.
This is fantasy Manhattan.
Ah.
The city never sleeps.
Middle of the night. I suffer from insomnia. No, I didn't realize it was the middle of
That's
the night.
fine.
I'm gonna do what I do best and just, without being seen, just scope out the whole place.
All right, so you're going to try to sneak in. Okay. So,
I also want to make sure that I get into the warden's office
okay.
to look at the paperwork for routes and any plans that
Sure,
they have.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, this is part of you scoping the place out.
Yep.
That seems reasonable. So the two of you, at this point, you can decide whether you're going to go along with him or not. You don't really know what you're getting into. This is a commoner district. Are any of you conspicuous in a commoner district?
I'm guessing that I would be, yes.
It would be under appearance, it will tell you.
Appearance. I
I
am
am
conspicuous in
conspicuous.
commoner districts.
Yes.
I am
Mummers.
always conspicuous.
That's true.
What is Little Taona?
Little Tauna is basically the townies are the Red Lotus Society-ish. They're the Asian cartels and the Asian population. The Asian immigrants, basically.
Oh, I appear like a wealthy commoner.
So you are not conspicuous in commoner districts.
Cool.
So the two of you would be.
Yeah.
If you operate in a commoner district without some cover
Disguise,
story or disguise, normally getting a disguise would involve a legwork scene.
Ah.
You will generate heat by doing so. Now, I want to really emphasize, a lot of things you do will generate heat, so you do not always need to be paranoid about not generating heat. Plus, I will get to spend it to make your life interesting. So really, don't you
It's
just
just
want to
part of
spend
the
heat?
thing.
So you can decide to go along with Paco, and then we just kind of determine how you're involved. Or you can just say, look, you know what? I'm going to sit back. I don't want to generate heat. We want to play it cautiously. Let's see what comes out of this before we even escalate the situation. If Paco gets in trouble and you want to try to show up, you can spend 20 luck. All of you start.
It's all a matter of how much you trust Paco.
Yep.
Yep.
All of you start at
How much
100
luck?
luck.
Do I, okay. There's that.
It's on your character sheet. Your luck is
Yeah.
basically your hit-ish points. When somebody attacks you, either mentally or physically, they're going to attempt to degrade your luck. When you're out of luck, you're no longer dodging the 1 inch away
Yeah.
sword blows or things like that. You're now taking wounds. And you can be attacked both physically and mentally. You can do that to NPCs as well. So if any of you have like Intimidate or something like that, and you really want to get someone out of a scene, but you don't want to just straight up stab them, I say to those two, since you're just going to stab them anyway, you can, intimidate them. You can convince them. You can, all those kinds of things could be perceived as trying to erode their luck. And you can combine the two. You could punch someone in the face and then convince them that it was just a barroom brawl and you're drunk and we should all just be friends now because this is how boys become friends with each other, is through punching. If anime has taught me anything, it's that. So, is anybody going along with Paco?
Paco, you were saying that you work better by yourself. Is that right?
I work better when no one's looking.
I like how he specifies that, not by himself, but when no one
What
is
if
looking.
I'm nearby and not looking?
Just don't look at me.
All right.
Close your eyes. We've done this before, guys.
All right,
You
it
really have
sounds
to
like
ask-
you guys are willing to let Paco go do Paco.
Yep.
All right, Paco. So it's my understanding that you do not know anything about jails and prisons.
No.
Okay. So, the 14th Royal Precinct, I will tell you actually, as you kind of journey there, so the High Road County District is, a very kind of quiet, working class-ish area. It's a commoner district. It's not particularly noteworthy. As you're traveling there and kind of walking, dusk is falling. You get some of the anachronistically tall fantasy buildings, casting deep shadows kind of stuff. Some of the alchemical lights are starting to flicker on in the streets. You see little urchins running around
Yeah,
trying
I
to deal
start
with
skipping.
things.
Paco starts getting exciting. Shadows, darkness.
Okay. Paco is filled with a passion for his work.
Now, I personally don't know how he does it, but reading this guy sounds pretty amazing because he can enter any building,
Yep.
open any lock.
Yep.
It always succeeds, and he always does it without being seen or noticed.
Okay.
So I guess I walk up to the building, look at it,
Sure.
smile, look for the darkest area,
Sure.
and then do something outrageous to get
Okay.
in.
Well, I mean, if
Or do
we
I
don't-
just
if-
walk
look,
up to
how
the
about this?
door?
If you don't know, then the audience doesn't know either. We'll just have a scene of like your head, then we'll cut away to show like the guards working, and then we'll just cut back, and your head will be inside the prison. So,
Just happens.
but before we get there, a couple of things you notice kind of going through the area. First, again, this is a commoner district, but you suddenly realize this is probably family territory. Your cartel probably kind of owns most of the crime that goes on here. But as you're going through there, you see very, very little crime at all. It's very low activity for a family district, which seems a little interesting. The 14th Royal Precinct itself is a one-story building, except for a large gong or bell tower in the back of it. And at the top, you see something that looks like a weird, misshapen bell of some kind. You're not really sure what the detail is. It's just not the kind of thing that you would see in a church. Something seems off about it. But it's just at the back of this tall spire. And then around it is a wooden palisade that kind of takes up the whole block. And then in the front, the palisade has an opening that you can walk through. And that leads to kind of like a little intersection of streets. And there's a bridge that goes over a canal. So it's unclear whether a carriage would come or whether a gondola would come.
I hope it's a gondola.
So, why don't you give me a quick case the joint roll for the outside? Can I see your specialty real quick so I can determine just how you can do everything without being seen?
Say red stuff first. 58.
58?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so your ability is called second story work. So what that means is that you can get into pretty much any secure facility. It doesn't mean you can pick any lock or defeat any obstacle in general, but you can when it's getting into a place, basically. Okay, so keep that in mind. That if you were in prison, you wouldn't necessarily be able to pick the lock to get out automatically. But if you wanted to get into prison, you could absolutely just show up in prison, basically. All right, so you rolled a 58. What is your case the joint skill?
80.
80. Well, fantastic. So you are walking around the 14th Royal Precinct. You discover a couple things. Okay. Yeah, so you get some of the stuff I told you about of it being family turf. You're able to kind of confirm that. Very little crime. As you're kind of deciding what you want to do, you see, like in that kind of square that I mentioned, right in front of it, there's one of the lamp posts that holds the kind of alchemical light that you see is kind of mixing, and it's not mixing super great, so there's a little bit of flickering every now and then. And the camera kind of falls on some scratches on the post that are highlighted in the flickering light, and those are thief signs. You, as a thief, standing next to a sign, are able to read them. And you're able to kind of pick up the following information. Light danger, lazy by day, corruptible at night, no deception by day, family neutral by day. The other thing you're able to kind of pick up when you're looking at this tower, like the big tall spire with the weird bell in it, you're not able to figure out what the weird bell is because I assume you do not know about jails and prisons or security systems.
Security systems, apparently not.
Okay, great.
Things you know is all about your from your family, right?
Yep,
Not
yep.
your.
Yep.
Okay.
With some rare exceptions.
Yep.
Like alchemy. If I ask who knows about alchemy, the alchemist knows about alchemy.
Right. I don't know about security systems being the thing.
Fantastic. What you do notice, though, is that this is a really old building. Again, this is kind of like fantasy Manhattan. And at one point, the city's name is Dunhaven. At one point, there was a big fire. A lot of the buildings were destroyed and then rebuilt. This is actually old enough that it's probably historically protected. And it's old architectural style. It's all like stone and kind of old brickwork and stuff like that. All the other buildings of this kind in the area had burned down. Which would mean that this building doesn't have the same alchemical construction protection that the newer buildings have, the more modern ones. Not quite glass and steel, but definitely alchemically treated concrete and things like that allow for much larger buildings than normal.
Paco makes a mental note. Stone to candy.
So just as you're making the mental note, stone to candy, you look over and you realize that there are two people who are in an alleyway kind of watching the front gate. All right? And they're not the right kind of people, but they're pretty close. Probably bounty hunters or something like that. People in the world of crime, basically. And one of them seems to be asleep, but you realize that there's a crossbow across their lap. They're very tall, thin, gaunt. The other one is a much more shorter, more plumper woman who kind of looks like an endearing younger sister, basically. And she seems a little anxious and nervous, actually glancing over your way every now and then, although she doesn't necessarily seem to pick up on your presence here. But as you kind of observe them, you notice, you realize that these are actually two bounty hunters you've heard about before, called Cold Marcus and the Sparrow. Do you know about the right kind of people?
I do not.
You do not. So what would you like to do? Would you like to second story work your way into this prison? Or the jail?
Yes.
Great.
Before that, though, can you tell me what was on that lamppost again? Because I
Sure.
did not write any of that.
It
down.
was light danger, lazy by day, corruptible at night, no deception by day, family neutral by day.
family neutral by day.
Yep. Great. And so if you don't have a better idea on how your second story goes, then basically we have the sequence of like you kind of, eyeing up the two bounty hunters, and you're like, all right. And then the camera has a picture of your face, and you're like, all right. And then we kind of like pan away to the night, and the moon is bright in the sky, and then we pan back to you in the back of the jail, just being like, all right, I got in.
Can I have an image of him just walking up to the doors? You mentioned that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to do that? So if you walk up to the doors, you'll have to go through guards, basically.
Yeah. I don't
I guess
want
it
to put my
depends on,
influence
do you
so
want
much.
to talk to them, or do you want to try to sneak around?
I'm gonna try to sneak around.
Okay,
I
great.
work best when no one knows.
No
I'm
one's
there.
looking.
Yeah.
And it's going to be harder to tell the guards to not look. So, you have stuck your way in somehow. The audience is left to fill in the gaps. But you find yourself in what appears to be the break room. There are some clothes, and there's some food and like bread and cheese and stuff like that. Some cheap wine kind of on the table.
He smells the wine. Goes in.
Yeah. It's not the best. You've stolen better. But it is a break room. It's a little bit messy. It looks like over to the left, maybe there are some barracks or some place for people to kind of rest up. And you hear through the door, it sounds like light jail office work. If you crack open that door, you can look down and see, looks to be about a half a dozen desks that are right where the front door opens up, and there's a large room. And it looks like maybe there's a kind of a passageway on the other side.
Any people are?
Yeah, there's 4 guards in there, or
guards?
there's 5 guards in there.
Are their
Most of
backs
it-
turned to the door?
No, they're all like kind of doing paperwork, with like facing the door with their backs against the wall and kind of to you.
And this is the only way out of the break room?
Yes. So like you have a quick look around the other side. It does look like it's barracks. Some other kind of like storage rooms and stuff like that. You see a couple guard uniforms and general supplies. There's some spare sabers. There are handcuffs, things like that. General jail supply type things.
Right.
But
Having
there's
a
no other
uniform,
exit out this way.
Not a bad
Any
idea.
keys? Just
Uh,
maybe someone left their keys.
Sure. So there's also a mechanic in here where you can kind of just try out your luck. See if your dumb luck worked. Okay?
All right.
You can spend 10 luck and then roll and hope you get below your luck. And if you did, sure, that thing happened.
Cool.
So you want to
I'm
spend 10
thinking-
luck and see if those keys are there?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Great. You spent 10 luck, so roll a 90 or below.
7.
A 7, okay. Sure. There's some keys there. You don't know what they are to yet, but there's some keys there.
Yeah, I grabbed the keys.
Great.
Perhaps a uniform as well.
Sorry?
Perhaps a uniform as well.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
said,
yeah,
I thought you
definitely.
said lip balm.
Well, I mean, I've got that. But also, uniform.
some lip balm.
He's a gentleman thief. He can't have chapped lips as he's
No.
going through.
Make sure I always have my beeswax with me. I wanted to grab a uniform as well.
Sure, great.
Uh,
I mean, it doesn't necessarily fit super great,
Yeah.
but you got something.
Do I press forward or do I go
You,
back?
sir, are a bold criminal.
Yeah, that's
What would a bold criminal
Let's
who
get some
was
heat.
literally characterized as unable to accomplish anything well do in this situation?
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
And again, keep in mind the two of you, when you feel it's important for you to step in, you can do so.
Thinking Paco maybe tries on a uniform
Okay?
with his ability to create a disguise.
Sure, great. Roll to create a disguise. I'm going to give you an advantage die. So I'm going to give you 2 advantage dice because you have a uniform. So you're really just making
Putting
it
it
look
on.
13 with 2 advantages.
Nice.
Fantastic, great. So you look perfect. It turned out that this uniform was actually just the right size for Paco, shockingly enough.
Now, I still want to get out of this room,
Yep.
and I want to do my best to sneak around so that I still don't want to be seen. Even
Sure.
I mean, there's 4 guards.
But you're not gonna like dramatically like hide behind a corner. You're gonna try to like walk inconspicuously. I
Yeah,
presume.
just be
Okay.
like
Just not be noticed.
walk with a confidence that I belong here, but not too confidently that they look at me and are like, "Damn, look at that guy. He's so confident."
Great. So, why don't you roll sneak around?
I'm assuming I lose those.
I'll give you 1 advantage for being in a costume that shouldn't attract a whole lot of attention.
68,
What's your sneak around?
80,
Great.
and 1 advantage.
Great. So yeah, you open the door and you walk out and maybe chewing on a little bit of cheese and cracker or something like that. Yeah, it was just on break, guys. A couple of the guards like look up and glance, when they hear the noise, but they go back to their paperwork as they slowly grind their souls into dust in the bureaucracy of the government. And you,
Is there by chance
an opportunity for you to embarrass yourself? Absolutely.
a map on the wall that says
Fire exit.
Grimes' route for tomorrow?
So, would
What,
you
the
would you like to spend 10 luck and roll and see if there is?
Yes.
Okay, I'll allow you. So spend 10 more luck. This is a rule that I don't think I fully read when I was running it before. So I cannot wait to keep tempting you guys and pushing you guys to basically spend your hit points to see if you can get convenient things. So
I want this map and I
Yep,
want to
so-
grab it.
great. Let's roll. Let's see what happens.
Let's get that schedule. Well, not too much confidence because again, I don't want to be seen. Even though yeah, he just
All right, your luck's at 80.
22.
Okay. So yeah, you actually kind of sneak out. You're chewing on and you look up and you pause, chewing on your little cheese and cracker. And there is a map of the prison, and there's a brief map of the district. There is not a conveniently marked, this is where we will take the prisoner that you are concerned about. But kind of looking at the layout, you can narrow it down to a couple road paths, or looks like 2 canal routes that would be reasonable to take. So you're able to narrow it down a fair amount, but not nail it in.
Right. I grab that off the wall,
Okay.
and I feel bad for not leaving anything behind. So I'd like to leave like a blank
Don't worry.
piece of paper.
We'll count that as you leaving behind evidence.
There we go, because that's what Paco does.
Sure.
Because now there's a map missing. Someone might notice that.
Well, so sure. Okay.
And
All
then
right,
I walk out of there.
Great.
You know what? I probably left one of the cards that I mentioned that I leave when I steal stuff.
Sure. Okay. Great. Sure. All right.
Make things interesting.
You just got to leave your cards behind.
So all right. So I'm going to say that this is a map of the jail itself, as well as the district. Okay. Did you want to try to get to the captain's? Oh, so here's the map that you have. You are like here, and the map was basically on the wall, so that people who are on their break can come and check everything out.
Right.
Would you like to? Because you had mentioned you wanted to go to the warden's office.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've accomplished everything you want, or do you want to kind of check out anything on that map?
I want to check out the cells.
Okay. To get to the cells, you'll have to go by everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will swing by the captain's office though, because I still want to get the information for these guys.
Great. Okay.
As much as I
Great.
can.
So I mean, I wanted to check this if you wanted to abort because it sounded like you were good, but you have a few more things you want to check out. So you'll kind of again, you rolled great in your stealth, and you've got this uniform. So you have this ridiculous moment of you with a cheese and a cracker in your mouth. You kind of take the map off the wall. You open up the frame. You take the map out. You put your Paco card back in. You put it back up. The camera pans over just like Paco as you roll up the map and just kind of stick it in your pocket, and then you just walk right past all the guards who are continuing to work on their tasks.
Office work.
Yep.
Yep.
So, look, justice has machinery that needs to continue forward, whether you want it to or not, sir.
Bless them. Bless them.
So you walk right behind them, and you come around the corner, and it sounds like there's somebody in the captain's office, but it's kind of like a PI window where it's, you got your door and then a frosted glass.
Oh, so okay.
So you can't see in there easily, but you can tell there is somebody in there. And then if you, I'm assuming, continue forward, or?
No, I'm gonna get in there. I want an awkward situation.
Okay.
That's more fun.
Let's keep going. I'm gonna
All
press
right.
my luck.
Okay. So you open the door. And there's a very sharply dressed woman. Do you know about commoners?
I know about merchants, the canals, and the blooded. No, I don't know about
great.
commoners.
There's a very sharply dressed woman inside, filling out some paperwork. You actually see her trying to tidy a portion of the desk and seeming me a little exasperated with that task. And she looks up, she says, "Yes, what can I help you with?" Very busy cleaning up after the day shift.
I was looking for something to do. Perhaps I can help you. You seem to need some help. While still scanning the room because I really want the
Sure.
paperwork that I need.
Yeah.
Well, that's very.
And if I can help
it's
her-
very proactive of you, officer. And she seems to pause for a moment as she's trying to figure out what your name is.
Pedro.
Officer Pedro.
Yeah, just Pedro.
Okay, so she's like, Pedro's your last name?
In my first name.
Pedro, Officer Pedro?
It's an old name.
Huh. Why don't you roll convince somebody? I'm going to give you a disadvantage die for that name.
Not good at thinking on the spot.
I'm not good at thinking on the spot. This is the thief who just opened the door on an NPC.
So
Is there a name
is it
on
anything
your
else?
Well, so
uniform?
do you have any convince or deceive or anything like that? Or just if you have any skill at deception or
Create a
lying.
disguise, distract someone. No.
If not, let's do anything else. 50%.
49.
All right.
No disadvantage.
All right. So, she's like, Officer Pedro, and she just kind of like does. But then she looks down and she sees this huge stack of messy papers all over her desk,
I don't even care if
and she just sighs. She says, "Great. Well, as I'm sure you can imagine,
49. Oh my
Captain
god.
Brandis has left this whole area in a complete disarray. So we need to sort out all the reports of everything that is happening." So she kind of like motions you over to sort through it. And a couple more things that you'll pick up on. She's obviously so she's a lieutenant and she runs this place at night. It seems like. As you're kind of going through the paperwork and hearing her complain, you know that somebody named Captain Delmar Brandis runs the precinct during the day. Do you know about nobles?
No.
Okay.
What is the blooded?
So the blooded are basically criminals who are too chaotic, violent, and anarchistic to really be part of the cartel structure. So they're basically like, barbarians in the fringe, effectively. Another thing is the Spiders, and the Spiders are the cartel that's sold out to the Crown to basically become spies and secret police. Those are kind of other factions that are in the game that may or may not come up at any point. So, you kind of go through some of the paperwork. You find documents about Captain Delmar Brandis. He runs stuff during the day. The name doesn't strike anything, any chords in your mind. There's a report about instructions on how to utilize lightning stone. You don't know anything about alchemy or security systems, so you don't really know about it, I'm assuming. Correct me if
Yes,
I'm wrong.
but I know my friend would be
Yeah.
interested.
So there's instructions on how to use lightning stone. Something about taking the reagent and taking the solution and applying it to the stone will pacify people. You're not really sure about the details.
I put that piece of paper up my sleeve.
Okay. Do you have like a stealing skill or anything like that? Like a sleight of hand or
Conceal an object.
Conceal an object.
Sure, great. Let's conceal an object.
17.
Okay. So you slip that right up there. I'll say you also get. You also see something else about inspection report on the gong tower, and you'll start like basically grabbing a couple things here and there as you have a chance to do so.
I know how much Van Boom likes information, so
Yep.
I grab paperwork and he reads it.
The other thing that you notice, but you aren't able to conceal before she kind of takes the paperwork from you, is the processing report for when Elvinius Grimes was brought in. And it says that they was brought in by Cold Marcus and the Sparrow. It says payment will be provided upon delivery to the Crown. There seems to be some note about waiting for the rest. But that's a little vague. You're not really sure. Seems whoever filled out the paperwork might have been a little hasty.
Yeah, they're a little Paco themselves.
There's a little bit of Paco in all of us,
Yeah.
Paco.
It's true.
Feeling confident that I've gotten what I
Great.
needed.
So Carver says, excellent. So you guys basically clean much of this desk much faster than she would have on herself. She says, thank you, Officer Pedro.
Please excuse me. I must go to the bathroom.
Yes, you should. Take
Al-
care of yourself.
Yes, alone.
I wasn't going to go with you.
You shouldn't come with me
Okay.
because we have just met. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Pedro.
Good job not being memorable.
I'm just gonna that was. Yeah, I'm gonna. There's some more evidence there. All right. So that is your legwork scene.
Beautiful.
We now have a chance for you guys to kind of exchange information
Yeah.
and to reorient yourself a little bit.
I throw the paperwork at you. Boom there.
All right. So Von Boom. All right. So first of all, does anybody know anything about prisons?
I thought
don't
you knew
think
about
so.
prisons.
No, the Circle knows about prisons.
Yeah.
So
No, I do know about the royal noble people. So if you mention that name to me,
I mentioned the name. I also mentioned Colt Marcus and the Sparrow
Sure.
because you
sure.
know all about
So
the people that should be known.
there's a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to dump on you guys real quick.
Okay.
First, the Gong Tower, the inspection report on that. It basically just, it's pretty basic. You don't get a whole lot of detail on it, but it's a big, tall tower. There's a metal gong at the top, and there's a small gong at the bottom. And through some mechanism, it will raise the alarm kind of in the whole precinct, the whole district area.
wouldn't it be embarrassing if that went off and it was just candy?
Cold Marcus and the Sparrow, those of you who know about the right kind of people, they're both bounty hunters that have been troubling the right kind of people for a while now. Cold Marcus is a slender, wiry man with a gaunt face and sunken eyes. He moves like a lazy ranch hand and is known as a crack shot with a hand crossbow. The Sparrow is a small, plump woman with a ready smile who looks more like someone's loving sister than a hardened bounty hunter. She's the face of the two and handles a lot of the investigation aspects. Those of you who know about nobles, Captain Delmar Brandis. He's a captain of the watch in the High Road County District. He's a distant relative to a minor noble house. He doesn't have a title, the house doesn't have a lot of wealth, but it has basically made its fortune consistently being useful in serving the crown, basically. He runs the precinct during the day. Nobody knows about commoners, right?
No.
All right. Lightning Stone, you know about alchemy. So Lightning Stone is like an alchemical object that is clay mixed with conductive material like iron and copper and things like that. It's fired into brick and then it's covered with a solution that kind of hardens it so you can construct things out of it. When a certain solution is added to it, it creates a rapid electric current that will kind of course through all the connected stones, and it is usually used to pacify people or do damage or something like that. But the documents that he has do not specify like where it is or anything like that. There are instructions on how to use it, and the answer is take the clay pot, smash it into the tiles, and the tiles will fire. So you can conclude that there's something in the clay pot that will make it fire.
Do I happen to know what that?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like it's an electrolyte solution you could make if you really wanted to.
Okay.
I'm just leaving it out there.
Yeah, I want some of that.
Sure. What? We now have 2 more legwork scenes.
Yep.
What are the 2 of you doing? Who wants to go next?
Hopefully that information is helpful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
So you
thinking-
got a basic layout of the prison.
Yeah.
You know who's in charge during the day. You know who's in charge during the night.
Perhaps
You know
a letter
someone
should
watching?
be waiting for the captain as well. That,
Yeah, so-
you know.
They're very corruptible during the day. Not
Or
very
was it-
deceptive during the night. So
Say that again.
the guards, or I'm assuming whoever's in charge, is very
Yeah.
corruptible during the day as well. So this might be the captain.
It might be. Or we could just
Oh yeah, that's totally what you
deliver
said.
him a letter.
Want to check your notes?
Oh, did we do it backwards?
No
Okay.
deception during the day, corrupted during the night.
Very good
So
then.
basically, Paco has this wonderful line of, they're very corruptible at
You know, that's in
at-
character.
They're very corruptible during the day,
All right, we're going with it.
but they're very corruptible at night.
Well, but I could just kill him instead. That seems far simpler.
You do you. You do
So,
you.
we have 2 more legwork phases, and you guys have figured out the area, and you
Yeah.
have a bomb, and that's about it so far.
Okay.
So it still seems reasonable to, find some other guy on my list and swap him out. And make them a little groggy so they can't protest. I think
Yeah.
a letter should be waiting for the captain in the morning as well. That would at least make him groggy, if not just take him out of the equation
Do
completely.
you think that the bounty hunters would get in the way, seeing as that they
Yeah,
haven't had their
probably.
full payment?
They haven't been paid yet, so we want to do whatever we're doing without tipping them off that we're doing stuff.
Or we tell them that the prisoner has already been moved or been taken.
Okay, so you're not in the planning phase.
Yep.
So
Yep.
try not to plan too much.
Oh.
Yep. No, I'm just
Um,
saying
Yep.
we could tell them that something's going down, and they will make a great distraction.
Oh, tell them someone else is trying to mess with your stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, which one of you wants to do your legwork scene?
You
I'm
can
kinda
interact with them.
confused
You're
about my
looking for a
labor
safe
scene
home.
still.
What's
safe
up?
spot?
So would sending the poison letters, that's not part of my legwork scene?
No, so that's the thing that you
influence?
spend influence on.
Okay, so then my
you
legwork
have
would
you have
be-
1 influence, and you can just
Oh.
spend it to send that 1 letter.
So I can't poison 2 people.
Not necessarily easily. What you could
Okay.
do is you could spend your legwork scene getting your poison. So it's a legwork scene is basically a task you want to accomplish that's going to get you towards your goal that is not guaranteed of success. Basically, you see how it plays out,
Yeah.
or is not guaranteed of not having complications or ramifications. A thing you spend influence on is a thing that, for the most part, will pretty much just happen.
Do.
Yep. So, like, for example, he can spend his influence to make guards look the other way. If he didn't have that ability, if he was a different cartel member, you could spend a legwork scene trying to get blackmail or bribery information on who you could bribe. So, influences can be used as we need to accomplish
Yeah.
something and we don't have a legwork sequence to spend it on.
Oh, I could also uncover a piece of blackmail-worthy information about the captain.
Sure. Or you could do that about the lieutenant at night.
Yeah. The making our fall guy groggy seems like the important thing to guarantee it happens, though.
Sure. So you could spend your legwork scene going to get poison, and then when you guys enact your plan, you have the poison available to use on somebody nearby, and you're going to hope that you find somebody appropriate.
Yeah. Or I could use my influence to get poison and use my legwork scene to find a guy that looks right that also needs to die for
Sure.
some reason. Okay.
You just really want to kill somebody is what I'm getting out
Well, I
of this.
mean, yeah. That's what I'm good at.
So, do you know what you want to do in your legwork scene?
Well, yes, I want to get create the catalyst for the lightning stone. It can't be that hard.
No.
Just to swing by, grab some of that stuff.
Sure. So just that makes perfect sense. But I just want to confirm. Your plan is to go in and get him out. All right. So yeah. Sure, you can do that if you want. That's fine. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just want to go.
I've got the alchemist kit. I can make that.
Sure.
Yeah. And I also kind of want to let the Sparrow and Cold Marcus know that they got the wrong guy.
Okay. Well, so those are two different goals.
Yep.
You want me to do
What
one?
I would say is that if we want to make a legwork scene for you to get a thing to do the lightning stone, it might be a good idea for you maybe broaden that out, like to get material so that you can trigger the lightning stone and maybe get some protections for you guys so you don't get affected by it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go
You know,
with
like
that.
that might be
Yeah.
because I don't want you to spend your legwork scene on something that's
Yeah.
that's relatively minor. So that would be major.
Okay.
Because to my mind, that's basically taking care of a challenge. Okay. Another legwork scene would be to go to Cold Marcus and the Sparrow and deal with them in some way, whether that's murdering the shit out of them,
Yeah. It's the
or
simplest solution, really.
that
you can
is
shoot people.
trying to trick them or to convince them to take a different course of action. So, what are you doing? Who's doing what? The two of you.
All right.
It's
You
your
wanna go
moment in the
first?
spotlight.
Yeah. Let's get some lightning protection going.
Okay. All right. So,
Yep.
You don't need me to come along with you, right?
That should be okay.
Okay.
okay. Well, so the question is, we're going to define your legwork scene. The thing you want is the catalyst and a way to protect yourselves from it.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to get that from? No, this is not a trick question. This is, what is the scene that Cloud Von Boom goes to get these things?
Well, I've got to have a supplier.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta
does
Yeah.
your supply have everything you need? You just have to go visit it? Does your workshop have everything you need, or do you need to go to a store? Or?
I probably don't use a whole lot of electricity, so I'm going to have to go to a store for it.
Sure, okay. So, what kind of alchemical supply shop do you go to? What does it look like? Who's there? Do you just go to a alchemical guy and buy some stuff from him? Does that sound like Cloud Von Boom to you?
No. It's got to be one of my underworld contacts.
Or do you just go steal it from somewhere? Do you go steal it from the police depot just to feed an idea
let's do
into
that.
Cloud Von Boom?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Do
Do
you
you
need
take
an
the
assassin with you?
perfectly reasonable route, or do you decide to blow up more things?
Yeah, let's blow up more things.
Great. So there's a police depot that you're pretty sure is going to have, this is where the alchemical squad for the city watch are. What is your plan on getting in? Who are you going to deal with, or are you literally just blowing up holes in walls until you get to it? I realize that I probably should not ask such weedy questions of the witness.
Well, navigating bureaucracy is actually something I'm pretty good at.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and forge an invoice.
Okay. Do you have a forge skill?
No, but I have navigate bureaucracy. So
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody going to go with him while he attempts to procure official watch property with
would I be
totally forged documents?
conspicuous in this area, I'm guessing still?
Probably. So, does anybody have a forge skill that they might want to help him with?
I can do
I
anything
can-
with a 50-50 chance.
I can steal one.
Is that your plan? Do you want to go try to see a squad who's coming in, steal their paperwork, and then use their paperwork to go get what they wanted?
This is your scene, man. You're
Yeah,
the
let's do
director.
that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, so the
We
two
want
of
to
you-
embarrass them too, right? Yeah,
Right.
this is all coming
Okay.
from their own shift.
Sure,
Yeah.
great. Is the assassin going to come along to help out, or are you going to?
Could I create a disguise as well going along? So, I'm less conspicuous, or it
To
doesn't
create a
matter?
disguise to prevent the heat from being conspicuous would be like a legwork scene.
Okay.
But you can, you can go along and just generate some heat. Don't
Alright.
worry
We
about
also
it.
have this guard.
That's true. We do have that guard.
Pedro.
Yes, the guard Pedro. Well, she's going to remember you now, so later you can just walk in and do stuff.
Yeah, she'll remember you. That
Yeah.
is for sure.
Um,
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's kind of up to
so
you
it
guys.
sounds like all of you are
With a
going.
conspicuous assassin, we good? All right, let's go.
Why don't you roll percentile? I'm going to give you a 50-50 shot on this.
Okay. On what? 45?
45?
Yeah.
Great. So the depot that you need to go to is actually not in this district. It's in a district where she won't be conspicuous.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a better part of town because that's where the real money is made, is in alchemical items. However, that does mean that you will be conspicuous if you're not dressed up as a guard.
You should totally dress up as a guard.
I guess I'm gonna be Pedro.
Okay. So, you are at the depot. You're just going to wait for a squad to be walking towards there and jump them and hope that they have the stuff you need?
No, we're going
Why
to go
don't
in.
we?
Well, it sounded like you wanted to steal the requisition form from a city watch on their way in. Or were you just going to go steal everything without the requisition form? I'm very confused here.
That's much easier
your
for
scene.
me. But this is your scene.
Okay.
You tell me, Joe. How are you
Fuck it,
getting
let's just go in and
this?
steal in.
Okay.
Just break in.
Great. So sounds like are you gonna break in, or are you gonna go in and distract the front while he sneaks and steals?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's distract some people.
Okay. So this is in a much finer area of town, so you can hang out outside, I suppose, without attracting much attention.
Yeah.
As you go inside, it will be a little more like, why is a woman in a nice dress
Wandering
with a
into
bunch of knives
the
hanging
alchemical-
out, staring at me
Well,
in my
they,
jugular?
they stay hidden until I need them.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you dressed up as, Mr. Mummer? What is the mummer's outfit that you wear? It sounded like you had a black mask
Yep.
with paint all over it.
Yep.
Okay.
This is still nighttime?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So I've got the nighttime garb that's kind of ridiculous, but at least blendy. So
Yeah.
it's the.
And we're going into like the fancy alchemical shop?
No.
No, this is
Police
basically like
depot.
the City Watch depot.
Oh, that's
basically.
right. Well, perhaps I have a problem they need to help me with.
So, Paco, or Pedro, I'm sorry.
Pedro.
I apologize.
I'm going to set up a distraction.
So, the two of you are then not going in together, I assume.
Ooh.
Great. So,
He still lets me know the plan.
Yes.
yes. So, I assume that you have basically written down, I need you to get these things. They
Yep.
look like this. Make sure to get all of them, not
Yes.
anything else.
Well, if you grab extra
Yeah.
stuff.
It's basically like rubber-soled boots and the acidic.
Which one of you
solution
should
and
I be
stuff like
hanging
that.
out with, or neither? Just hang out outside
Keep an
until
eye out.
it sounds like someone needs to die.
Yep.
All right,
Pray to the gods that Pedro
Pedro,
Paco does not do what Paco does.
All right, well, let's find out. So, your plan is to distract the
Yes.
front? Okay. Great. Why don't you roll? Do you have distract? You have navigate bureaucracy.
I've got distract.
Which one's higher?
They're both at 80.
Great. So why don't you roll that?
74.
Nice.
Okay. Very close. So you walk up, and so you have navigate bureaucracy and create a distraction.
Yep.
How do you occupy the attention of so this is a police depot. You go in. It looks nice, but it's still waiting room, bars, secure area. And there's like clerks at the bar. So you come in, and there's a lot of stations that are closed because this is like the
Right.
middle of the night. It's not the busiest time, but again, the crown never sleeps, and the justice must always churn. So you have like one clerk and one kind of sleepy guard on duty. How do you distract them long enough for Paco / Pedro to get to a secure area?
Okay, so this is supply depot, right?
A what?
This is a supply
Yeah.
depot?
Mhm.
Yeah, a small explosion, isn't that far out of range of like somebody having errantly left some chemicals that it tip over.
You told me to expect explosions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So like just in the lobby, you're just going to blow up the lobby.
A little bit.
All right. I think that's going to
Yeah.
Well, actually, so it is worth noting that causing serious property damage and
Not a big
Pile.
explosion.
committing a noisy crime
That's accurate.
both generate heat. So let's see here. We
I
are
don't really know what
currently-
happens with that pile yet.
All right, so we're there. All right, we're going to simplify this list a little bit. All right, so
They come in
let me
piles.
pull up the list of things I can spend heat on. So where do you make an explosion in the lobby? You're like, is this fireworks, or do you try to toss something over so it explodes behind them? What's your game here, sir?
Okay, so got lobby. You got clerks, yeah?
I just love how literally like the plan is. So what do? Well, it could explode, right? Cloud Von Boom thinks it could explode.
Okay. And then warehouse, yeah? With, like, offices. That seem about right?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. I mean, I'm imagining like Harry Potter Bank or Fantastic Beasts Bank kind of thing.
A bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So,
And they store stuff for explosions.
So actually, if it's more like that, then we want the explosion to be out here to draw people out.
well, so what I'm asking is, what is the explosion? And like, it sounds like it's in the lobby or the front of the building.
Yep.
What is the explosion?
It is fireworks. It is bright and flashy, but not like...
Okay. Do you make any effort to separate the fireworks from the mummer in the costume right next to it?
I was told that that I was supposed to be performing a birthday party.
Okay, great. Fantastic. I love it. So, you set up for a fireworks-filled birthday party, perhaps a townies celebration of some
Yeah.
sort. You might even have a townies dragon or something like that. And you go into your full performance.
Mm-hmm.
It is a raucous noise, and Paco slips it. Pedro kind of goes there, and all the other guards come running the other way.
Oh,
So,
that's my cue.
Yep.
Do you have any ability to find things?
Well, casing the point.
Yeah, casing the joint. I'm thinking about that. Anything else?
I can appraise,
Really?
conceal. Yeah, I can
Sure.
appraise.
Okay.
I'm really good at lying.
Okay. Great. So why don't you give me a case the joint roll to see if you can find what he wants you to find,
40.
which is a success, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So you find the alchemical agent that allows you to trigger the lightning stones, and then you put it in your sack or carrying around, or your shopping cart you picked up at the front of the counter.
The classical thief, burlap black sack.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Does it
so
have a
you
dollar
walked
sign
in
on the
all
sack?
guard-like, and then you just come from your back pocket. You just pull out an unreasonably large black sack.
Yep.
And start throwing things into it. And every now and then you grab a
need this.
silver candelabra, throw that into. So out front, your display shocks the guard who is sleeping against the wall, up, and he draws his saber and is kind of like waking around, what? What's happening?
Happy
We're being
birthday,
attacked?
Charlie!
What? Oh my God! It's not even my birthday. This is great. What is really happening here?
It's not your birthday. I've got this invoice.
So why don't you roll lie or distract?
Or convince?
This is totally not true. You don't even think it's true.
62. Distract. Yep, that is under for...
Yep.
So what's your distract?
Succeed.
80.
Distract is 80.
Okay, great. So I was waiting for one of you to fail before I explain this, but apparently you are incapable of doing so. But if you do fail, you can do something called pushing your luck. Okay? That's where you spend your luck in increments of 10 to increase your skill by the same amount.
Okay.
Okay? So if you just fail, you can push your luck a little bit. But every 10 that you push your luck, you roll a disadvantage die to see what unfortunate consequences tumble out of that. So, you have tried to tell Charlie, and he's just like, my name's not even Charlie. Like, my birthday was last
Charlie.
week.
Oh, shit, it burned.
Oh no, all the paperwork has
so
burned.
while you're having this exchange with Charlie, the clerk is like, will you please put that out? What is even and then two more guards come out that Paco passed by, and they're like, what is going on here?
It's Charlie's birthday.
I'm not Charlie.
Then what is Sylvia doing?
So, in the back, you hear, we don't even know who Sylvia is. Why don't you roll case to join again?
Succeed.
Great. Okay. So you have like a set of things you put on the bottom of boots, basically. Feels like rubbery or weird leather or something like that. You don't know what the hell it is, but it looks like you put it on boots, like snow booties or something like that.
Yeah.
And it seems to match what he says is there. That's all that he said to put on his list. Are you leaving anything behind as you take these things, by the way?
Oh, that is such a Puckle thing to do.
So yes.
No, I need to look for something that he didn't ask for in order for me to.
Okay.
You know.
Well, there's a whole bunch of alchemical stuff here.
Is there anything?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you want to be there? I think
Well,
is the question.
I
mean,
need this.
basically, I'm going to allow you to describe what it looks like, and you literally have no idea what it will do. But you're leaving a calling card behind it?
Yeah.
Great.
It's
that is evidence.
Yeah. It's what Puckle does.
Yeah, it is what Paco does. So, what does it look like that you take?
It looks like a. It looks like a backpack
Okay.
with tubes running in and out of it,
Okay.
with some kind of like weird Tesla coil on top,
Uh huh.
and it looks like it has a switch, like a maybe like a. Like it can be activated in some way or another, but I'm not a technician. I don't understand it, but it
Sure.
looks
It's
brand
shiny
new
and
and it
looks
looks
expensive.
experimental and
Great.
expensive.
Okay. Sure.
So I take it.
Sounds fantastic. Can you roll to distract again?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so at this point you have attracted the clerk. Is like closing up his stuff and securing it, and just shouting every now and then, "Put out those firecrackers! That is what." And
Sylvia paid for these things.
Who's Sylvia? Like, so you have the clerk and you have the Charlie and you have two other guards, and you notice outside several people are kind of looking in, and a couple some of the guards outside see like blasting fireworks and stuff through the window, and they go walking in. But then you see it looks like it.
That would cause problems for.
Yes, as a matter of fact, you do
Alright.
see something that would cause problems. As you see two City Watch walking along, seeing that, like they're basically like on patrol.
Sure.
They see that, they kind of look at each other and like grab their little sabers and start hustling in. So I'm
Alright.
spending 4 heat to add a complication.
Very good. I need to read my thing again and see if I can just kill them silently.
If you want to, sure. If that's how you resolve. Like basically, we have the comic relief and the fun guys, and then in the background we just have like
No, you're a problem.
Widowmaker just stabbing people left and right.
Any witnesses not looking directly at you or your target do not witness the attack. So everyone's looking at him, right?
Yep, sure. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
How do I do
So,
that?
so you're just
I
gonna
see
straight
you
up.
work like
Okay.
Paco.
They're
Best when no one's
So
looking.
you're
It
just
might
gonna
cause a problem.
you're just gonna straight up walk up to these two and just be like, "Pecan."
That's the plan, yeah.
All right, great.
Let's see how that works.
So they are hustling their way in there. You kind of like ninja hustle your way up to them. Why don't you make a
How do I do that?
stab the shit out of someone roll?
Stab someone?
Yeah.
All right. Or shoot someone, but that would be less quiet.
Stabbing. I also don't think you have a gun or a crossbow.
Oh, perhaps not.
Crossbow.
Okay,
I have a crossbow and knives. So we'll go with stabbing.
great.
Oh, wait,
So,
that does less damage, though. Should I do a crossbow instead?
let's see here. What is your no? Stabbing's fine.
Okay.
Carve your way out. You have 2 advantage. Okay, these are minions, so you get 2 advantage dice.
Woo. Yep.
Great. Okay. So go ahead, make your attack.
42, which is under 80. But I did not get any of those.
Okay. So you kind of rush forward and stab one, and the other one you kind of like stab out with your knife. And it would have been a perfect kill if he just had been running a teeny bit slower. And your knife just kind of goes through the sash of his it goes through like his basically like bandolier sash. And he kind of continues forward, but you're a super stealthy assassin. So I think it actually says like, when you're attacking somebody, they don't make any noise.
No.
So like you just like straight up kill this one guy, and his partner just keeps running, assuming he's right next to him. You gonna chase him down and kill him too?
I mean, yeah, it's going to cause
Great.
a problem
Make
if I
it,
don't.
sure, go ahead. Make
Same
make
roll?
another roll. So the way this works is like this was a squad of minions, and every time you attack a squad of minions, if you succeed, you take out some of the minions. You reduce the squad size.
Okay.
And this is a squad 2.
17 is also under, and I got a thing.
Great. Okay. So I will say that you managed to kill this one and grab him and hold him so that he doesn't like slump through the door into the middle of everything. But you can see out of the corner of your eye, a guard was he was saying like his mouth is moving, but the fireworks are going off conveniently to cover up what he's saying.
Perfect.
And then you just see a knife come around, come through, and then pull him back.
And they can put them in an alley somewhere.
Sure. And then you like
not
have a
notice.
nice little like wave into the door so he knows it's good. So
We're good now. Continue.
let's see here. This is a crime. Where was it?
Is this the challenge dice?
That's
Yes.
the disadvantage.
That's a disadvantage die. All right. Well, you weren't witnessed by the Crown committing a crime.
Nope.
You didn't flee the city watch, but you did kill people, and I'm going to say that guards are law-abiding citizens.
Sure.
So that generates 6 heat.
All right.
What do you do?
So
with
when
the-
I killed minions, it costs heat, and then when I kill them, you get more heat. It's like there's a cycle
well,
here.
there's that. You could have dealt with them in a way that did not involve murder. You could have intimidated them. You could have talked to them.
I don't have a skill like that.
You know, it is. You are perhaps uniquely suited to murdering people and thus generating heat for me.
All right.
But hey, that helps. So, what do you do with the bodies, by the way?
I stow them quietly in an alley or other.
Okay,
And leaving bodies behind.
that counts as evidence. So that's
Yeah.
fine. Yep. Okay.
I mean, hopefully evidence someone doesn't find for a
Well,
little
yeah, I
while.
mean, you definitely stow them in such a way that it seems unlikely they're going to immediately stumble upon them and then chase you down. But the important thing to keep in mind with heat is that it's not like direct evidence to you right now of the crime you just committed. It is an abstraction of things you're doing that might arouse
General
crown
suspicion.
tension. So, you know, I might spend heat for someone coming after you. But it's probably not going to be because of this particular thing.
Okay.
But I could also just spend heat like things have been happening. They're starting to get nervous. They're going to increase the guard patrols
in
and things
general.
like that. So we have now murdered 2 people, stolen 3 things. How would you like to extricate yourself from... we don't care who Susie is, who Charlie is. What is your name?
Sylvia!
Sylvia now. Who else is involved in this? What is your name?
Sam!
Sam? Sam what?
Carlton!
Sam Carlton. Sam Carlton. What organization do you work for where you were hired? Are you like some sort of like party clown? What is this?
Yes! Obviously! I am part of the troop of... F Troop.
Sam Carlton of F Troop,
Yes!
the party clown.
Yes!
Okay, well that seems reasonable. Like, are you just? How are you planning on kind of
Fine.
extricating yourself from this?
You know what? I was here. I was paid to come here. If y'all don't want my services, I'm leaving. And just storm out.
Okay. Sure.
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just kind of like, and the fireworks are still going off. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll go on for like another 7-8 minutes.
Sure. Sure. All right. So you leave, and Pedro, as you were leaving, the clerk says, no. What are you doing? We need to clean this shit up.
Uh-oh.
As like all the guards are basically trying to chase down the fireworks as they're skidding across the marble floor and stuff like that.
I have to go to the restroom. I have diarrhea.
What?
Every time. It's always the bathroom.
Why don't you make like a lie roll or something on that?
I can do that. And I succeed.
Yeah, I like how you like. I have to go to the bathroom. What? I have diarrhea. What? Okay, great. So you're out.
Yeah. I run like hell.
Great. You guys meet up outside.
Like butter.
Do you happen to have
Like butter
anything-
that we stuck firecrackers in.
Yeah, I throw him the
That's how I
sack.
make it.
I
Do you happen
got
to
you.
have anything in your alchemical stuff that would just make bodies disappear? Just asking.
What, like lie?
I mean, yeah, that'll work, I think. Sure.
Probably not like immediately, but over time, yes, technically that's true.
How much time you got?
I
So,
don't know.
what is your
could set him on
legwork phase
fire.
going to be?
You could set him on fire. I think it still makes sense for me to use my influence.
Just to get a perspective of time, this happened, and then the night scene happened, right? Okay.
This
so
is
it's
the night.
still night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it still makes sense
Yeah,
to
like
use.
this is the fantasy city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, again, like you this was the night shift that you interrupted. That's why the guy was sleeping against the wall. That's why there was only one clerk instead of a dozen
Right,
clerks
right.
or whatever. That's why she was able to just go stab some people in the street and nobody really noticed.
really noticed. Well, unless
That
someone's
and the
looking
fireworks that
directly
were
at
going
me,
out.
for some reason I can do that.
Well, the fireworks were doing a pretty good job of attracting just about everyone's attention.
yeah, it's true. But I think it still makes sense to use my influence to take care of the poison and use my legwork time to go find a guy that looks kind of like
Great.
Master
So
Grimes.
give me the influence.
this.
Yep. Great. So you have spent influence to get a poison that will make someone groggy and I'll say like pretty receptive to suggestion and things like that.
Yeah.
Generally passive and cooperative and not really able to communicate who they actually totally are not.
Yes, that exactly.
Sure. And then you're going to hunt down some poor unfortunate soul who looks similar.
Poor
Now-
unfortunate soul who looks similar and hopefully has some other, if I can get some other guy off my list as well, that'd be
Sure. Okay. So where are you planning on doing this, and who are you interacting with? Because as a question, you painted yourself as a very Robin Hood type person.
Mhm.
Are you going to try to kidnap nobility to do this with?
I mean, yeah, that would make sense.
Okay.
And be very embarrassing.
Right. So you're going to try to kidnap some sort of prominent nobility.
Some sort of prominent.
Does
Well,
any-
not too prominent. Not
Not
someone
too prominent,
recognizable
sure.
immediately.
So does anybody want to go with the assassin as she decides to cut off the crown's nose?
It's her decision if she wants us to come.
yeah.
right?
I mean,
It's a group decision in a way.
If you
Yeah.
want me to go,
there's some kind of like nighttime entertainment where this person
Absolutely.
might be found? Very
Absolutely.
good.
well, you need entertainment. We can get entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, some place where fancy people go and sit and have a drink.
Where do
Yeah.
famous people go? What is the so this is the part where you get to kind of describe your scene again. It's a chance for maybe
Yeah.
you to do characterization or just something silly or whatever. What is the social event that the particular 30-something, dour, unassuming, not
Unassuming.
very visually distinctive
Yeah.
noble?
But
what
not
are they
nice
attending?
guy.
Is it an opera? Is it a party? Is it a swingers party?
I'm thinking like hanging out at the fancy
Is it
bar.
an opera swingers party?
No. Hanging out at the fancy bar.
Okay.
Where lights are dim, or candlelight actually. Would be
Sure.
more
Okay, so this is
appropriate.
a candlelit. Okay, so this is a candlelit bar
Yeah.
for nobles who don't believe in this newfangled alchemy and all this kind of stuff. All this alchemical lighting is unnatural and is not the true tradition of the crown.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this
Rather
a
full of themselves people.
absolutely one of the kind of people that you stab and they just pop because they're so
Yeah.
full of themselves?
Yes.
So is this an illicit bar, or is this just a pretentious bar?
I think pretentious. That would make me more angry than the illicit bar, I think.
Great. So this is a bar full of nobles who are so far up their own butts that they take great pleasure in drinking unreasonably overhyped beverages to candlelight and thinking that that is the true tradition of the crown, basically. The two of you going with her? This is definitely going to be in a noble district. You're going to be conspicuous anywhere. What about you?
Yeah.
I would fit in just fine, and I could use a drink.
Would you fit in just fine in a noble district?
Yes. You
Okay.
wear fine clothing that benefits a wealthy commoner?
Does
That
does it say where you are conspicuous?
Yeah, little, essentially Chinatown,
Okay.
and the docks and the slums. That's where I am.
Perfect. Great. Okay. So you would be the only one who would be conspicuous here.
So perhaps maybe you also create a distraction here as well. I mean, you're really good at it, and you're going to be conspicuous anyway.
Perhaps you can
Is that
make a
what you want?
distraction, and Von Boom's like, oh yes. Well, what is
Yes.
the distraction? Blow up.
Create distraction. I mean, you don't
All
need any more
Really,
instruction than that.
with
I
as
don't think.
pretentious as this place is, it doesn't have to be an explosion. It just needs to be light.
It's
Oh,
true.
look at that. I can distract
Bring in the
people.
wrong variety of lamp.
I'm just very amused that like you guys still use the euphemism distraction and not just
Would you
explosion.
blow something up for me, please?
Do you need something stolen here?
I mean, I don't think there's
Like
anything
a-
wong with
like
having
a-
a nice bottle of
Does
wine
it count
around.
as stealing a person?
Well, I mean, yes. I'll need help with that because we are going to steal a person.
Okay, so,
can do
so
that.
you have the poison.
Yep.
What does this poison look like? How is it delivered?
Classic little vial of
Okay.
poison. Something that I could drop in a drink.
Okay, so it's an ingested poison.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Ingested.
Perfect.
poison.
So, she leads you to this fine establishment. Well, do you know the name of this establishment?
I don't know the name of
Okay.
the establishment.
It's an unnamed place. It's one of those places that if you
Ooh.
ask the name,
You don't need to be there.
Be here.
Oh, it's the fancy goat.
But so it's just a single candle next to a half-empty wine glass is basically on the door. There's like a little card tucked into the door with that.
Call it the Twilight Bar.
You can call it whatever you want, but
Yeah.
those who give it a name aren't worthy to be there. So, there's a so you go in. It's kind of an
Yeah.
unmarked door. You go down a hallway, and there's like basically a maitre d' standing at a podium, kind of in front of just the end of a hallway. And you know that you have to basically would get past him to get in. Now, is it you and all three of you together?
I think it would be because you and I look like we belong here.
Okay.
I think we would be accompanying each other. And you're doing your own thing? Or are you coming in with us? Okay, you're doing your own thing.
You don't want me
Okay,
mucking
great.
about.
So
with
the
your
two of you
business.
walk down, and the guy at the podium looks up, apparently from a book of some sort. Says, "Yes, can I help you with something,
Would I-
Madame, sir?"
Would I know already, like, what the
Sure.
protocol is for getting
Yeah,
into this place?
just make it up, or don't.
We're here to enjoy some lovely beverage by candlelight.
Excellent. I'm glad that people of your fine prestige can appreciate such traditional comforts.
Indeed, it's in tradition where all of the
Please
important things
enter.
are.
And he kind of just pushes
Yes.
the wall, and like clearly a fake door opens, and you guys go through, and he nods,
Yes.
and then smiles.
very
He
in
smiles a
on
little bit
all
as he
these
closes the
things.
door. So you go in, and it's basically a speakeasy kind of thing, and it's extraordinarily dark. And,
And
the
overpriced.
walls are kind of greasy with candle smoke. And there's little bits of candle wax on the floor and stuff like that. There are no prices because, again, if you had to ask
No, right.
prices, not the place for you. So, you're going to find your target.
Yep.
What's this target's name?
I don't know what his name is yet. Who
You
looks like the right guy?
Well, basically, I figured you came here knowing that in your travels through the circles and your
Oh, got it. There's
knowledge
already
of
a
nobility,
guy that I
you
have
found a
in
guy.
mind.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
who we're here to get.
So,
You
like,
know.
I mean, you could flip over here and come up with some.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Vesper names are noble-ish names.
Ooh, Edward.
Edward.
Yes. Edward something. Edward Renard.
Edward Renard. Okay.
Looks
So,
right.
yeah,
Frequents this place.
So you
generally
see
jerk.
your target, Edward Renard, and you actually have to point him out to Paco because he's so unassuming and pedestrian.
That guy there.
And Paco's like, that one? No, you're like,
No.
that one, the one in the middle. And you're like,
And I'm like,
oh
oh.
shit, there's one in the middle.
Perfect.
That's what I aspire to be.
Yeah, this would be
You can
great.
learn from
Like,
this guy briefly.
yeah. So the two of you make your way over to him. What are you doing?
I'm gonna run like hell and try to bust through the door.
Okay, so you're just gonna run past.
Yep.
Okay. Did you guys discuss any plan before you went in? I don't recall
Any
one.
timing? Well, I mean, you would have known that it was an ingested poison, so it's probably going to take a few minutes to like do its thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
are you trying to create a distraction for them to do their task, or are you trying to create a distraction for them to leave with the groggy guy?
Leave with the groggy guy.
All right,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay, so the two of you walk up to the table, and it appears to be Edward Renard, and two other people, a woman and a man. They both look to be like a merchant.
A merchant.
Yes, the woman is a merchant, and she has what the family would describe as a male companion.
Very good.
And they all seem to be drinking and sharing a bottle of something reasonably nice, but certainly not worth the effort that's going into this evening.
So they're all drinking the same thing.
Yeah, they all
Okay.
have their separate glasses.
Yeah.
But they're all drinking from the same bottle. What's your plan?
Okay, so our objective is to walk out of here with Bernard.
With Bernard.
Is
no,
he a
Like-
merchant?
Edward.
Or Edward.
Edward.
Right.
You can get Bernard too if you want.
But Edward is the guy we're going
Bernard
for.
is
Edward.
Do you guys walk up to the table basically and start interacting with them?
I mean,
or
I
are you
think,
gonna
yeah,
scope it
we'll
out?
just walk up and be friendly, and when the opportunity presents itself.
Sure.
Oh,
They're
Drop
friendly.
poison
They
in the
welcome you to the table. I mean, you're here after all.
I mean,
you
we're all
must
part of the
be
same club.
the right kind of people. So they introduce the male companion as Bernard. The the female merchant is named Sylvia.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes.
She works in silks, selling all kinds of garments and clothing, and they proceed to bore you to tears with their small talk.
Yep.
So, what are you guys doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah, what's the plan?
Well, I did hear. Perhaps we can use the earlier commotion to our advantage. That Sylvia, that name sounds familiar. There was some sort of commotion earlier. Did you order some variety of birthday party? There was some large-scale thing, and my hope
sure.
now is to get her upset that her reputation is perhaps in question. and
Birthday
She needs to
parties?
go
No,
do something.
I
about
do
that.
not age. But I assume in some way that you're trying to deliver the poison to Edward.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you have a plan on how to do that?
I'm hoping to get Sylvia either upset enough that she needs to go leave and deal with this
Okay.
issue,
Okay.
or distracted enough that I can drop it into.
Sure.
His drink.
He is also very good at distracting.
Oh, that's true. So as we're making nice with these folk,
Yeah, I mean,
Any-
basically, I'm just pointing out the two of you are
Yeah.
there, so you could absolutely have a two-man job of one of you distracts the trio while the other one spikes one or more drinks.
Is this a kind of bar where you dance, or is this just like sit down, drink, pretend
Be pretentious.
you know things? Okay.
Yeah, dancing is too much fun.
entirely
too
too much fun.
You're creating a distraction at the front,
Yeah.
so I have to
And I'm
create a
creating
distraction
at
here.
the table.
Well,
Oh yeah,
okay.
actually, we're all confused now.
Yeah, I
So it is probably worth noting, considering what you guys have done so far, that distractions can come in many scales.
Yes.
You are not Von Boom, so your distraction does not need to be an
Yours can
explosion.
small.
It simply could be you try to attract everyone's attention while she
Well, I dropped the poison.
puts the poison in the drinks, or vice versa.
Yeah.
She could distract while you, happen to palm the drink or something like that.
So if I
um
mention the Sylvia thing, can you go off with that and give me an opportunity to drop some poison? Or do you have another?
Are you still wearing
more
your guard?
Paco way.
You're not wearing your guard uniform.
oh no,
right?
oh
Okay,
god
great.
no. I am simply here as Paco.
Okay.
No, distract the entire room. I can do that for you while you spike the drink. I could be. I flip over the table.
Well, Paco.
No,
What
don't
are
do
you
that.
actually doing?
No idea.
I think
so-
'cause we only need to distract these.
We
Sure,
just need
these
to distract the
three
three people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All you have to do is come on to her a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I,
that's true. That would work.
I lean over and I
Especially in
say
front of her male companion.
something around the lines of how I find her to. I fancy her, and she excites me south of the border, below
Okay.
my pants.
Sure.
Make sure to
why
clarify
don't
that.
You, why don't you roll?
I say
why don't you
exactly like
roll
that.
Distract someone. Now, to be clear, Are you in any way attempting to elicit a positive response in her, or are you simply trying to occupy her undivided attention?
All of their attentions, yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
7? I succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. You engage in some of the least suave seduction techniques that you've learned on the streets.
I wink, but I don't know how to do it. Say, being
just look at
seductive,
her.
so I just end up blinking.
Blinking
But
really
to me,
hard.
I'm just like, yeah, that's happening.
All right. So Sylvia, Bernard, and Edward are just aghast and seem to be occupied with Paco. Paco, by the way, did use his name Paco.
Oh
I'll be
shit!
speaking with him about this later.
And evidence.
So, do you
You
have
leave your card everywhere anyway.
do you have any?
I think this isn't anything else.
Sure.
thing,
Just
unless-
roll percentile. Let's
I mean,
see.
I guess maybe conceal, because I'll want
Yeah,
to
conceal an
be
object. Go
sneaky
ahead.
about it.
Yeah, absolutely. 65%. I mean, what's the chances?
65%.
65%.
Man. All right. Yeah. So sure. Yeah, you conceal an object in his wine. How long does it take to take effect?
Say about 5 minutes.
All right, so there is a remarkably awkward sequence of
Yep.
exchanges for about 5 minutes or so.
Because that's amusing.
I
And
no longer find you attractive. Good day.
at that point, Sylvia's just like, I have been accused of aging, and then this injustice. And at that point, we have the mummer barreling down the hallway. All right, so are you literally just running and jumping at the wall to kick open the door and explode? Are you Explosion Man? Is that what this is?
So my goal here is to knock over a candle and drop a smoke bomb.
Oh, yeah, but okay, so you just run, kicking the secret door. Like, you're not even talking.
Just run right past the guy.
Yeah.
So you're just running up, and you just, you're making noise running in the hallway, and the guy's like, yes, excuse me, no, please, no, 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 and just ducks out of the way as you just fly into the wall.
Yep.
So you were like, I no longer find you attractive, man, good day, and then just, boom, the door, like, is kicked open, and, like, the hero of the night is standing there, and you're trying to snuff out the candles and...
No, just knock one over and drop a smoke bomb. So
Yeah,
it looks
right.
way
So
worse.
so I love this. You just kick open the door. Knock over candle, drop smoke bomb. Poof.
And then I steal Edward.
Yes. Okay. So, do any of you have any sort of like physical move things skill?
Run like hell.
Yep. I
All right.
have climb, jump, tumble.
Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Sure.
someone's
So
pocket.
Paco,
Yep.
why don't you give me do you have a run like hell?
Yes.
Why don't you give me a run like hell?
I fail.
So you remember you can push your luck.
No, I don't want. No, not this time.
See what happens when we fail?
Yeah.
All right. So you pick up Edward in the smoke bomb, and you are rushing out. So everyone's all rushing out, and you're basically like just before you get to the secret door, you hear like gunk, and some fans whirring, and the smoke suddenly is cleared out of the room, and you're just like standing there holding Edward over your shoulder.
We have to go to the restroom.
He's very
Yeah.
drunk.
So the maitre d' guy at the podium is like, excuse me.
He came
Yes.
down to me. This is what he wants.
All right, why don't you roll like lie to somebody on this?
It's not where I was going with that, but all right.
I mean, you can't use the same bathroom joke every
Succeed.
time. So yeah, the maitre d' looks to you, and to Edward, and to you. It's like,
Who are you to? You know what? We're nobles. This is just what we do.
so the smoke is cleared, and you, looking over your shoulder, can see that Sylvia and Bernard are clearly seeing you guys exit. Would you like to deal with that in any way?
So Sylvia and Bernard, who know Edward, are now seeing the three of us leave with Edward.
Yeah.
That could be a problem. We should probably kill him.
Or a bigger room.
If you want, you could just throw knives and kill them.
Ain't it good? Perhaps, I mean, I don't know. I've already killed 2 people tonight.
Just gonna yell down the hallway, bachelor party.
I mean, my
Okay.
No, there you go.
All right.
Do they believe
havoc.
us?
So I still have Bernard. No, Edward.
Edward.
You got Edward. You're taking him to the bathroom.
Right.
All right. So why don't you? So you're trying to convince them this is all part of an elaborate bachelor party ruse. Okay. All right. Why don't you roll to lie to somebody?
Oh, I suppose I
13.
can do that too, but I'm
Okay.
much better at stabbing.
Great. So they're just in a huff and they look at each other and they're like, "Well, I never." And Bernard is just like, "So, you now have some idea of what's happening in here. You have alchemical agents and a way to set off and protect yourself from the lightning stones. And you have a very groggy man who looks
Who looks right.
passably well for your target.
Yep.
You guys have all done your legwork scenes. When are you going to initiate plan? Also, it is the start of a new segment, so I get one more heat.
I feel
for
like
a
there's
player.
gonna be like word around town that just this thief is constantly under the influence of diarrhea. Like,
Well, like the last one was not diarrhea so much as affairs of the heart.
Yes.
bathroom related. But now we have to set everything in motion.
Yeah,
Yes,
now we
so-
have to
so,
actually go make the swap.
So I'm assuming you guys are basically going a little bit before you expect the crew to show up to take him because you want to get him out
Yeah.
and replace him with your
Groggy noble
drugged
jerk.
up, bombed up noble. Okay, so how exactly are you getting him out? You
I don't
going in
think
the
we actually decided anything
I don't. Yeah,
like that.
you guys did all the fun parts of the job, which was explosions, explosions, explosions. So
Smoke bomb.
it's just before.
I mean,
smoke
you've
bomb.
got the guard
a
outfit.
really big smoke bomb.
I have the guard outfit.
All right, so it's
I
just,
know
it's
the
just
way of
before
the
dawn.
land.
How's this going down?
All right, we got to change the guard coming up, right?
Yes.
Yep. Well, you can definitely be one of the new guard.
But how am I getting?
Well, so like the dawn is when that will change over, and that's when Grimes will be transferred in. So you assume that would be a little bit late. So what are you guys doing?
You, I think, can just go in. You have keys, which may or may not be the keys we need. We'll find out.
Oh, I completely forgot about those. Yeah.
Is anyone good at picking locks? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah.
The one with
Okay.
the keys can
Well,
pick locks.
Very good.
Sure.
So backup plan. You can pick the lock.
Get in, pick the locks. Wait, Grimes.
Maybe you should blow something up. You get all the guards outside except for you.
Or I could get myself arrested by like, hey, I blew up a bunch of shit.
You could get yourself arrested.
It is me. I am the one who blows things up.
But how do we, once again, how do we
I'm the
get
mad bomber. What bombs at midnight?
Please let me into your jail for no reason
Yeah.
whatsoever.
So
Don't worry
this
about it.
this is the part where like the planning phase. We were supposed to come out of that with a plan.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Not like an amusing list of to-do items.
I feel like we.
So
We
Don't
kind of
have a
forgot about
plan.
so
getting him
it
out.
was my impression, just to summarize your plan.
Yep.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
'Kay.
It was my impression you guys were going to go in somehow,
Yep.
deal with people inside
Somehow.
somehow,
Yep.
out.
get Grimes out
Yep.
somehow while smuggling in this other person you found somehow.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
we're
got
gonna
this.
do that.
Pedro,
Yep.
Yeah.
drunk, responsible for murder. That's Edward. I'm taking him in,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
and then I replace him with Grimes.
Yeah.
After you, I don't know, like disguise him to look like Grimes,
Sure.
and then I walk out of there with Grimes.
Well, you could walk
How
out.
would you walk out with Grimes?
But we're gonna say that Grimes is Edward. He's just drunk. He needs to sleep it off.
Yeah.
So not wanted for murder then.
yeah.
Because then he could come back out.
Disorderly conduct, then, not
All right.
murder.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to sneak Or can you like blow a hole in the wall? That's as far as I can get
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I can get in.
I can totally blow a hole in the wall if that's what you want.
I don't think that's what.
So your original plan was you wanted them to come in largely unaware of what was happening,
Yeah.
pick up Grimes and leave unaware of what is happening, so the explosion happens later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
that
mean-
means that you probably want to get in and get out with minimal influence. So to try to step in a little bit, maybe to give some suggestions, and to be clear, if you guys have ideas or plans, you do not need to follow these. You can tell me to stop, and we'll just continue with whatever your idea or plan is.
Yes.
But you can spend influence to make people look the other way, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
You have a thing
So
too.
you could try to bribe a lot of the
Guards.
a lot of the general guards at night, and then you would only have to deal with the main one, with the lieutenant. Mr. Mummer, Von Boom, is there anything that the Mummers can spend influence on that you feel would be particularly appropriate right now?
Convince gain access to a safe house. Arrange for your crew to be hired as entertainers for a party or social event.
A birthday party again!
What?
A birthday party again.
Obtain the use of a mummer-run theater or playhouse. Stage a performance of a play as a cover for your activities. Or secure an invitation to an exclusive social event.
Okay, so none of those
None of those
necessarily
seem
seem
to
to be
fit.
super appropriate. You can kind of spend your
Say again?
influence in general to try to do something that you think would be, appropriate, like bribery kind of things. But it's a little more limited. His is specifically kind of broader. So you could try to, if you could figure out a way to just have the guards observing you, then you probably could just pay them off to look the other way to allow you to kind of step in and do what you want. If you can figure out a way to deal with the chief or the lieutenant,
Are we still operating under the false information?
no, I'm assuming that you he actually checked his notes at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No.
they are not corruptible, but they are lazy.
So the
No,
guards,
no.
you
Lazy
can
by day, corruptible by night.
Yeah,
Right.
and
This
it's
is
night.
day, right?
This is
Not
night.
yet.
Still.
You're still
Okay.
night.
Okay.
So you can bribe the guards. We just have to deal with the lieutenant. But you already have a good relationship with her.
Yep.
Maybe you throw her a party, and your troop happens to be the people helping out,
Yes, they had one weirdly intimate night.
and then you throw her a party. I mean, it's as weird as
Sounds
anything else.
like
we've
a
been
plan.
Wait, is this really going to be like, Sylvia said it was your birthday?
doing. It's up to you. I'm just saying, it's a thing you're good at.
So this is the new plan. Nope, not the plan.
No, I'm just
We should not do that.
throwing things out there. All right.
Okay, so
Like I got my part. Like I know
Okay.
how to get us in.
Great, so
I
just-
just
yep,
out
so-
is
Yeah.
not.
out is stupid.
Yeah.
Well, he is still a noble, so perhaps you, as the guards, bring him in, going, "Man, this drunk guy's causing problems," and then I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. That's a noble guy. He shouldn't be here." And then we get Edward out, but it's actually Grimes.
See, now that's a good idea. Can we do it?
I don't know.
Sure, let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Like all of the loose ends
I
you have
could
not.
just have to kill everyone. I mean, that's always a good backup plan.
It is worth noting that Rodney intended this to be a game of criminals with hearts of gold. But maybe you have to dig the hearts out of their chest to find out whether it's gold or not. So,
I'll
Yeah,
give half the
that's why I've
money
got the
to
appraisal
orphanages
thing,
and
right?
stuff.
oh yes, appraisal thing. So it sounds like Officer Pedro is going to return and basically bring this guy in. Okay. right.
Who's
I mean, you just found random drunk guy. Bring
right,
him
right,
in.
and then you're gonna show up as like, hey, this guy's a noble.
This guy's a noble. It's
He
embarrassing for him to be here.
shouldn't
you
be
gotta
here.
fix this.
And then I will bribe the guards to be like, yeah, we gotta get out. And then we switch
Yep,
Grimes with Edward, and then Grimes walks out as the
Alright.
noble.
as Edward.
Okay.
Boom.
And if everything goes south, just blow stuff up and distract him. Yeah, this is bad.
Well, that's a lot.
I'm going to spend 20 heat.
Jeebus.
All right, so that leaves me with 5. Good. So, Pedro, you walk in the front, supporting a bleary clearly drunk, clearly disorderly Edward. Edward Renard. Edward Renard hung out with Bernard. All right. So,
Yep.
so you bring him in the front, like you're a guard who brought somebody in, and
I know where everything is.
Yeah, and there are 4 officers of the law basically at their desks. At 4 out of the 6 desks, they all look up and they're a little surprised. And you see Lieutenant walks by. She says, "Oh, Pedro, there you are. I was wondering where you had been. What's going on?" And all the 4 guards, when they see her talk to you, they're like, "Great, we don't need to deal with this," and they go back to their work.
Yeah.
They're basically sorting paperwork from one pile, putting a stamp on it, putting it in another pile.
Yeah. So I say.
Very Brazil shit right here.
I give her the name of a restaurant, and I was like, "Avoid it. I'm still suffering from it."
What was the name of the restaurant?
It is the.
Doesn't have a name. It's too expensive.
Yeah. If you need to ask, no.
Yeah, so you're like, you need, just avoid the restaurant. She's like, what restaurant? If you need to ask.
It's the Flesh Eatery.
The Flesh Eatery?
Yes.
Don't go there.
It's exclusively ham and beans.
An exclusively ham and bean. And you got him there. And he's just like, by candlelight.
Yes, by nobles. It was very fancy.
I'm a noble.
Also, he spat on me, and he needs to be processed.
We're buddies.
Go in.
Okay, so you take Edward back and put him. Yeah, so you're like, when we take him back to the cell?
Yeah.
So she's like, why were you even out?
It's close to my home, and I can't use the restroom other than my home. I have a sensitive bowel movement, ma'am.
Sure, Pedro. You're a very diligent officer, but we may need to talk about some of your special needs during your next review. Please, just take him back to the cell.
Thank you.
So you take Edward back to the cell. Roll percentile.
75.
Okay. You take out the keys that you have. They do not appear to be to the cells as you try to open one of the cells. And so when you, I'm sorry, when you take them back to the cell,
Well, I don't actually have to put him in the cell.
on that note, so you come around to the cell and you see that there are 2 people
Right.
in cells. One of them is a 30-something dour man, just basically sitting there quietly, kind of holding his head in his hands. And the other one is a man in a nice suit.
Who looks like Edward?
No. Kind of a man with deeply tanned skin, slicked back hair, and a nice suit. Or you would call it a nice suit. You would not call it a nice suit. Leaning with his kind of arms through the bars, looking around, and then you come in and he sees you, and he's like, ah. He looks at you, and you recognize that he kind of recognizes you. There's something going on with this guy. And he just watches you as you come through, and you try the keys in the cell, and they don't work. And he just kind of smiles a little bit. And, it's like, good try.
I'm gonna work my magic and get the cell open anyway.
So that's getting in. Do you have a lockpick skill?
I do.
Great. Let's roll it.
It succeeds.
Fantastic. So you're like, yeah. All right. So you open the cell, and you put Edward Renard in the cell. And as you turn around, you don't know about the right kind of people at all or anything like that.
No,
right?
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you turn around, this guy's just kind of leaning back a little bit and looks at you, and he's just like, so that's the plan.
You quiet. Quiet, you.
Sure. I'll be quiet. I just know what's going on, so I know that you know that I know.
Well, you clearly
That you
don't
know.
know me
I don't know you,
because I don't know what's going on.
but I know the right kind of people. So, what are the rest of you doing here?
Well, I assume I'm waiting for you to have enough time to like get him in there. And then I was gonna come in and be like, wait, there's a noble person here. This is embarrassing. We need to take him out. We didn't talk about how we were gonna change their clothes.
So
or
you
anything,
can
did we?
certainly start that process now if
Okay.
you want. So you,
I'm
all right, so
coming in, yeah.
sure, all right, so you go in the front door.
Looking
and-
all fancy.
Yep.
And
And there are 4 officers there. They all kind of look up, and then they look at like 3 of them look at one, and then
yeah.
and they sigh and get up. And they grab like a notebook. Yes. Can I help you, miss?
Thank you, sir. I've learned that let's go with a cousin of mine of noble birth,
Yes.
perhaps had a bit too much wine.
Yes.
And it would, I'm sure you understand, it would be very embarrassing for him to be here in the morning. But I can take him
Yes.
and just take care of things, and no one needs to know anything of the incident.
And yes, and your name was?
What was his name? What did we say his last name was again?
Bernard.
Bernard
His
Bernard.
last name was, no, that wasn't
Edward
right.
Bernard.
It was not Bernard.
hanging out with Bernard.
Renard.
Edward. What did I say?
I'm Caroline Renard.
Bernard.
Oh. All right. So and the officer takes some notes. He's a young man. He says, "All right, Miss Carolyn Renard, if you could just have a seat right here. I'll get the lieutenant to see how I'm sure we can clear this up for you in a timely fashion."
Thank you so much.
Yep. And he goes to get the lieutenant, who comes back holding the paper that the officer had been writing on. And she looks at it and says, "Yes, so I hear you're a noble coming to do something to resolve another problematic noble?"
Well, I mean, yes, it would be quite embarrassing, I'm sure, as you understand.
Yes. Quite embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
For the nobility to have some sort of problem. Yeah.
So do I stumble out at this moment like
Not,
confused because of the situation that just happened,
sure, if you want.
and I look around and I'm like, well, everyone's looking at me.
Yeah. So you stumble out, and
Look in trouble because of the situation. You
Sure,
know, the guy obviously knows me, and I have
Yep.
no idea.
Yep. So you kind of walk out, and you see that the captain is talking to her. So that phase of the plan seems to be going well enough. One of the officers is kind of going back to their desks, and they look at you, and then they just kind of shrug and sit down at their desk. So
I walk over to the lieutenant, and I was like, the drunk guy's in a cell now, ma'am.
okay, all right. So you walk up to the lieutenant, and she says, "Excellent, great. I have a situation here I'm dealing with. Yet another noble attempting to use their influence to corrupt our pure standing justice." I'll talk to you later, Pedro. So as we were saying, you were hoping to bend the rules in what capacity?
Well, I mean, I can just. This is a problem for everyone, I'm sure. I mean, it's more paperwork for you. If I could, see him help him out, I can take care of this, and it will not be a problem for anyone.
Take care of this how exactly? I don't seem to have a problem. I have another loud, drunk individual undeserving of their station.
That may be
You
true.
seem to have a problem. I don't seem to have a problem yet. I apologize for being too forward, though.
I lean over
Oh,
and
no,
I'm
certainly.
ma'am,
Pedro, yes? Do you need to go to the bathroom again?
Technically, no. I didn't read him his rights. Can we hold him?
Amusingly enough, do either of you have navigate bureaucracy or anything like that?
Is that
Anything else?
is not a thing that I have.
Sure,
That's the
yeah,
thing
let's
that
roll
I
anything
got.
else to see if you can come up with some sort of loophole to force her to let him
That
go.
would be.
Rolo. 71.
You can push your luck.
It seems like, yeah, you know what? I will push my luck.
Okay, so you're going to push your luck 3 times. So you have to roll 3 disadvantage dice. No percentiles, just a disadvantage.
Just 3 of these. 1 disadvantage.
I love that skill.
Okay, so mark
Yeah,
off that you
that was a
spent
backup plan.
30 luck. Okay.
Nice.
Let's see here. And 1 disadvantage, you say. I think I'm just going to be simple. So there's like a couple of different things that disadvantage and advantage could do. They could be, more or less luck. You could heal some luck. You could take some damage. You could avoid some heat. You could generate some additional heat. I think I'm just going to generate 2 additional heat for that. Yeah. So basically, you point out that you haven't read his rights, and you see the lieutenant just kind of like get quiet and get a little red.
Oh, I messed up.
Just be like, well, Pedro, I guess we can't hold him.
I'll get him.
We'll still have to process him, of course, but we can't hold him.
Of course,
We
ma'am.
would be happy to release him into your custody.
I'm so glad that we could help each other out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Pedro,
Ma'am.
could I see you in my office, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So she leads you into the office, saying not a word to you, opening the door and ushering you in. So inside, you are surprised to see a very old, gaunt man sitting comfortably at the chair in front of the desk. And he doesn't even look up as you come in. And he just says, as the door opens, says, "Emily, can I speak to him now?" And he sees you and he seems a little surprised. The vibe you get off of him is a dangerous, scary one. Von Boom, what are you doing during all of this, by the way?
How tall is that gong tower?
Like 3 stories.
Can I throw something that far?
You probably concoct a way to transport something up that high. Sure. What are you planning on doing?
I feel like the plan is kind of hosed.
Don't look at me.
So what I'm thinking is,
Well, at this point, the 3 of us have no way to communicate with each other.
nope.
You know that it's
Sure.
maybe taking.
Come on,
too
Von
long.
Boom.
Okay, so did we put all of the cotton candy stuff on the dude before we put him in? Did we even put the cotton candy stuff on the dude before we put him in?
Well, that was the plan, so yeah.
So we
Yeah.
did? Okay.
Sure. Okay.
I assume we did.
So I would like to have a little bit extra.
I'm sure you made extra.
Roll percentile. All right. Do you want to push your luck? You want to roll, spend 10 luck and roll percentile.
65.
Sure. You got a little bit left.
All right.
Like not a ton, but a little bit. What is your plan exactly? You're just gonna make a giant cotton candy gong? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like just chucking it up at the one that's I'm pretty sure is going to be the one that alerts everybody
Sure.
that shit's going down.
Okay.
So I just want to chuck that up there.
Sure. Do you have a throw something or anything
I
like that?
do.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Great. So, how do you transport your stuff up there? How do you apply your material? Like, do you just throw it? Do you have a tiny little catapult? Do you have a cool crossbow? Do you have a blowgun?
Tiny catapult.
Tiny catapult. All right.
Actually,
So,
sorry, tiny trebuchet.
all right. A tiny wooden betcha. So you build you have a tiny little trebuchet. You basically like take it out of your backpack and it unfolds.
Yep.
Because of course you do.
Line it up. Launch.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. those of you inside hear like a very brief alarm bell go off, like an alarm like, "Dong," and then it kind of like being choked out somehow.
How strange.
And you see the lieutenant kind of looks back, is like, "What?" As she was just about to close the door, basically.
All right, give me a minute. 'Cause
So, what are you guys doing on the inside?
So I'm in like the
You're
lobby
so
area,
you
right?
are basically right like up here. You're on a
Okay.
bench kind of here. You have been put in here with the scary guy and the lieutenant.
Yeah.
You are basically out here launching like super spitballs, magic spitballs at the gong.
So the guards that are like hanging out at the desks, do they all like
Yeah, they're all like,
get
what?
up to go
What?"
do something? Or?
Well, they all seem shocked by that. They have not taken an action yet. I'm giving you a
Okay.
chance to intercept them, basically, if you want. Or you can take advantage of their distraction to go do something else.
Yeah,
well,
because I need to go like make the disguise happen. I think still.
So you're going to let them kind of exit?
Yeah, let them be confused. Let them exit and
All right, so
see if I can make my way
Sure.
toward the
So
jail cells.
they'll get up and go try to look to see what the situation is. It looks like all of them actually head that way. And
Perfect.
as they go by the door, Carver actually nods to them and says, find out what the hell that was while I talk to Pedro and the Inquisitor. And she closes the door.
The Inquisitor.
That's not a good word.
Nope.
So they all go to the gong tower, and you're able to look into the cells to see Edward, Alvinius, and this other gentleman.
Yeah, this other gentleman whom I was not expecting.
Yeah, so you come around the corner, and you see Edward in one cell, Alvinius in another cell, and the gentleman. You also did not unlock any of the cells, so
yeah.
the cell that you put Edward into, I assume you did not relock unless
No.
you wanted to.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All right.
So you
Oh.
come around the corner, and the guy in the suit turns around and says, and you know about the right kind of people? No, you don't. You
I
know
don't
about the
think
right
that I
kind of
do.
people.
You
So-
have entirely the wrong person
Correct.
inside. I don't think so.
Well,
Great, that's fine. Don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen?
It'll be fine.
So he comes around and he smiles
was that?
broadly and says, another phase of your brilliant plan?
Yes, of course.
Excellent. I'm sure your plan has space for me, right? Because otherwise I'd hate to have to, I don't know, interrupt it. It's such a nice plan you have here.
Oh, I'm sure
I'd
we
hate for
can help
something
each
to
other
happen
out
to it.
here today. I mean, at this point, I was not expecting this guy, so apparently he's in on the plan now, because what else are we going to do?
So why don't you try to figure out what you want to do?
Okay.
What are you doing outside still? So yeah, like you've done
All right.
that.
So, did I have a chance to look at his backpack thing that he brought back?
You're not sure what it does. Do you have it or does he have it?
I gave everything to him.
Great. Great, yeah, you put it on. You're not sure what it does yet?
Nope. But I got
Okay.
the boots. I'm just gonna
yeah,
walk in.
so I'm assuming all of you are wearing the boots, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And
Although,
the
roll percentile real quick.
85.
Okay. You got 3 pairs of boots, not 4.
somebody's gonna have to carry him.
So, so you got about, you're not like it's going to discharge something. Probably.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was not designed to do anything to the wearer because that would be appropriately government designed.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna walk in.
You're going to walk in the front door with your lightning Gatling gun?
Yep.
Okay. So at any point, are you planning on trying to use your influence to get all of the guards to look the other way?
Yeah, actually, that was a part of the original
Yeah.
plan. Yeah, I
Okay.
wanted to.
You haven't done that yet, though, is the thing.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So,
That's
I
a
mean,
good
like,
point.
you could have, like, so, I mean, not all bribery needs to be in person, I guess is what I'll say, without having too many leading questions.
Like a letter was delivered.
Okay. So as you were kind of bringing him in, you left a letter on, like, one of the desks?
Yeah. Well, I'm what is it? Pick someone's pocket, and I left a letter.
You mean put somebody's pocket?
Yeah.
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 Backwards picking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I put the letter in there explaining what was needed from the family.
Okay.
I need you all to look, look outside or
Sure.
look away.
All right. So give me your influence.
Oh, yeah, you can just pass it over.
All right. Yeah. So when so you deliver the letter, you kind of tucked it as you were passing by, and as the lieutenant is like, I need to go check out what that is. One of the you see one of the guards tucking something back in their pocket and saying, "Sir, yes, sir, we will all check that out, and we will not leave there until we have fully discovered everything that is going wrong over there." So you come in the front door with your backpack. There's no one here. So inside,
Grab keys. I forgot
you
that.
have
I got
a
it.
lieutenant who says, "Please, Pedro, take a seat." And she walks around to the other side and sits behind the nicely organized stacks of paper that you had
Helped her.
previously helped her sort through. And you see that the Inquisitor puts paper down on the desk that's labeled 4 horse persons. It's kind of a folder that he puts down. And he looks at the lieutenant and says, "Lieutenant, should I give you a moment to deal with some internal situation?" And she says, No. Don't worry about it. This will be very quick. And she turns to you and says, "Pedro, what just happened out there?"
Well, ma'am, in my sickness, I didn't do my job properly, and for that I apologize. I read the manual fully. I wasn't thinking. But in my rush to get to the bathroom to do my business because of my psychological, thing that I can't use public restrooms, I just wasn't thinking.
So as you're saying that, the old man kind of furrows his brow and leans forward and says, "Your sickness and psychological issues?"
I'm a nervous poor, sir.
A nervous poor. Are you particularly nervous today?
Yes, I ate some bad meat.
So he kind of leans into you and says, "Exactly what has been happening today, Pedro?"
I've been pooping a lot, sir.
All right. So he is basically interrogating you. And he, I believe, just did 50 damage to you. No, 40 so take 40 luck damage.
Sweet, I'm at 10.
Ugh.
So once those are all done, I start taking wounds.
It's kind of hard to take wounds from mental damage, but like basically when you're taking kind of mental damage or luck luck damage due to mental attacks, it's someone wearing down your resolve or worming through whatever cover identity you might have had, getting you to start tripping up. So the Inquisitor is basically asking you prodding questions of like, what kind of, you're a nervous poor, and trying to get you to go into detail where you will contradict yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, I start choking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a dangerous situation, and you are on the edge of losing your luck, basically.
Which is when he
Sure.
comes in.
So he steps in the front door. You, what are you doing
Well,
in the
I had
cells?
walked back in the jail cells, and surprise, there's a guy here that I wasn't expecting. What is the timing like with you coming in?
You have no idea, but we're just hopping around. So
Okay.
what are you going to do back in the cells? Are you going to try to swap the clothes now?
Yeah, I mean that was the plan, was to disguise the two as each other, but now there's this other guy here.
Okay. Are you going to
Can
try
I-
to deal with him in some way?
Yeah, can I get any sort of sense of like who this guy is, what side
you
he's
have
on?
any
Would that
way
be in
to-
anything else?
Sure.
All right. $61. I fail at my anything else.
You could push your luck.
I could. I haven't done any of that yet.
You could push your luck twice.
I'd have to do it twice, right? Because I'm one over. All right. I'll push my luck twice.
All right. So roll 2 of the black dice.
One.
Okay. All right. So you succeed. Yeah, it's like sizing him up. He looks like he's the right kind of people. He's probably a agent of the family, which is why he was so
Okay.
kind of like niggly familiar to Paco. So he looks like a kind of a rough and tumble, violent kind of individual.
Maybe even someone that would be good to have on our side.
Sure,
Like getting
absolutely
out of
could
the
be
cell.
good to have on your side.
All right.
And seems eager to, get out of prison, basically.
Yeah, we can perhaps do each other a favor here. All right, very good then.
So that's your very initial impression.
Yeah. Well, in that case, then I will tell him roughly the plan, and it's gone a bit astray. I was surprised to find you here, but perhaps we can do each other a favor. You can help us swap these two gentlemen, get this one out, and we can get you out as well.
I would love helping my friends with their jobs because,
Very
after
good.
all, friends don't leave friends rotting in prison, do they?
Oh, of course not. Wouldn't think of it.
Who's this guy?
Which guy is he pointing to?
Sure.
Well, this guy here is Edward Renard. He had a bit too much of my special drink, you see. And we're going to swap him with, what was his name? Master Grimes should not be here.
So Master Grimes looks up and says, very calmly, "Yes, I would rather not be here."
Yes, we're here to get you out. So if you could disrobe, and I will swap the clothing, because you left Edward's.
So Grimes stands up and says, "You want me to be naked now? This is part of your plan?"
Now the plan is to take you out looking like him, and leave him here looking like you.
Okay.
So you will be out, and no one will even know you're out.
Sure. So the cell to Grimes is locked.
Yeah, I can pass him. I assume I can pass clothes.
Sure. Yeah.
through
Absolutely.
the-
Yeah. Great. So you guys pass clothes.
Yeah.
The other guy in the cell introduces himself as Ahmed Vantonio. Ahmed Vantonio, and he snickers a lot at the passing of the clothes back and forth and the
Indeed.
nakedness.
All
But Grimes seems relatively unperturbed.
right.
So you
And-
now have a very drunken Grimes lookalike
Yep.
and a
Eager
calm
to get out.
Edward Renard lookalike.
You
Yep.
need to convince him to act drunk.
Yes. Yes, you will have to pretend that you are drunk. The story is you are a noble of the name Edward Renard, who I've come to get out because we wouldn't want any nobility to be in such an embarrassing situation.
Hick.
Huh?
Hick. Sway.
Yes,
Hick.
well, you don't need to name it, though. I mean, just do it. Much better, yes. Well done. And Ahmed, perhaps the skill of picking locks is not one I have yet acquired. Is this something you could help me out with?
Well, in the family we say, you don't even know what you're capable of till you try.
Yeah.
I'm so good at this.
Fantastic.
Presumably you hand him some sort of lock picks or something like that, or
Yeah, small knife.
yes.
I don't know.
And he's just like, and he's trying to like jam his head through the bar to kind of open it.
Right.
And eventually he
This
just
is-
kind of gives up and kicks it, and then it flies open.
Very good.
I loosened it up for me. It was great.
Well done.
All right, so what's the next step of the plan? He says pretty loudly.
Well, first, we should probably be quiet. Not sure exactly at what point my colleagues are in the plan.
You went
Uh,
to school? So, you're in the front. You walk in and you hear, "So what's the next step of the plan?"
Do I recognize the voice?
No. I mean, it sounds like a family member.
It's the right kind of people.
All right. I'm going to walk towards the cells because I have that.
Sure.
I know that map.
So you hear in the back when he says, "What's the next step of the plan?" You hear, "The gong. We're still checking out the gong. It's gonna take a little bit, sir. Maybe you could send someone to the front. Bye-bye." So basically the bribes that you spent, they're still in the back.
They're
So
still trying to cover up.
yes,
On our back.
they're
Do
still-
we
they're
hear
still
what's the next part of the plan
conspicuously trying not to
in
do
the
that.
office?
You hear muffled noises outside.
Okay.
So you walk around the corner. You know about the right kind of people. This is Ahmed Vantonio. I think a pretty not particularly accomplished agent
So I'm learning.
of the family, who, in theory, is supposed to take care of people who are being a problem for the family.
In theory.
How effective he is, you can guess from where he is and how he is behaving.
So come around the corner, just like,
And you realize that the tiles of this entire building are basically lightning tiles.
the entire building. Okay, so. All right. The solid for us is you don't tell anybody. The solid for you is we get you out, right? Is that the plan so far?
It's a brilliant plan. I love it.
Okay. Let's just walk out.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So right when you're okay, let's just walk out. You realize you don't know where Pedro is.
Yeah.
Pedro.
Well, I have some idea. I knew.
yeah,
I saw
you
them
know where
go back.
Pedro is. He has not yet inquired.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I see the tiles go under the store?
Sure.
Or okay.
So
I hear the sound outside.
yeah,
and
there's muffled noise outside.
yeah. I say
Roll percentile real quick.
63.
Okay. Great. So the Inquisitor has been prodding you and asking questions, and you're feeling you're on the edge here.
Yeah, I'm breaking.
Yep.
I'm getting out there. So I scream. I can't keep screaming the same damn thing. I scream. It sounds like the tower's being attacked, sir. That's what I scream.
Sure.
So we hear.
Yes.
What do you- Okay, so you're just trying to send a signal to them.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because I know that all the guards.
Yeah. So Carver,
bribed.
like the lieutenant and the Inquisitor just kind of like look at each other, and the Inquisitor kind of like draws himself up and stands up and just says, "I think we might need to speak further, Pedro. There's no attack going on right now. What's really happening here?" And you guys outside heard, "I think the tower's under attack."
Would you mind shooting the tower?
Shooting the tower. Well, sure.
Shoot the gong,
Well, you disabled the gong.
the lower one.
There's a bunch of guards around it.
Oh. Oh.
Well, if we get the two who don't have the special boots out, then we can just.
You two should run.
Set the
So
tile
I will
on.
say that to the other two.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should leave now.
So you just want them to run out the front door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I could go with them, and then you could do your thing.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Take them out.
Are we about to? Are we? Oh my. Okay.
You don't know what's going
Yeah, I
on.
have no
you got
idea.
nothing. All right.
So I will take our non-prisoners outside.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Vial with the stuff.
Okay.
Drop on the floor.
Okay. Sure.
Brilliant.
Yes.
It's all brilliant.
Yeah. So you drop the vial of stuff on the floor. Yeah, because you made the vial. Yep. Actually, yeah, you did. And it just kind of, yeah, because you picked it up from the depot. It just courses out everywhere. You basically see just electricity, just like just jolt out everywhere. Like basically, you guys stepped off the building when
Right.
it hit
That
everywhere.
lieutenant girl was nice, though. I mean, I think,
I'm assuming that they're wearing the shoes.
yeah. The lieutenant?
Yeah.
No, we only had 3 pairs.
We had 3 pairs.
Yeah.
Do you really think that people that work in this prison aren't going to have those shoes?
I thought it was experimental though, but
No, the
I don't know.
backpack was.
Backpack is.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So first thing, you hear a yelp and a cry.
I'm assuming that's
so-
Renard.
Why not? Well, no, they all ran out. Oh, yes. Basically, you just hear like, oh, and then he just collapses in his
But
cell.
only one person.
So
far?
roll percentile.
52.
Okay. When the Inquisitor stands up and says, I think we need to talk more, and you kind of like tighten your grip on the chair, you realize that you're in a metal chair.
Oh no.
So, yeah, there's a electrical shock, and you take 30 points of luck damage.
Negative 20.
Yep. So you're just at 0, basically.
Okay.
And you hear three shouts from inside the office.
Uh-oh.
3 more shouts. So,
So
they all
so,
scream.
yes. So you,
We all.
the Inquisitor, was not wearing special boots, and the Captain was also sitting in a metal chair.
Okay. Has the electricity subsided?
Yeah, it's basically a bam.
Okay, I'm gonna open the door.
Yeah. Well, so you and like some of the guards from the gong look around the corner and just be like, "Oh yeah, okay," and they just step back in. All right. So we're
I'm
now.
passed out.
Yep. So now we're gonna see what happens. So you just kick in the door.
No, open it.
Okay. All right. So you
Open it
open the
calmly.
door and just start ghost busting, I'm assuming. All right. So you are at like no luck at this point.
Correct.
So if you take any attacks that would deal you damage, you're just going to start taking wounds. And I would say like if were this to be a calmer scene, the Inquisitor would have basically cracked you or gotten the information that he wanted out of you. Not a whole lot of chance for him to do that at this point, however. So you open the door calmly. The lieutenant has just kind of jerked up. You've jerked up. Maybe pushed the Inquisitor back a little bit. So you open the door. The lieutenant grabs her sword, and the Inquisitor sees you at the door, and a little bit jerkily pulls a pistol up and tries to shoot you. So I'm gonna go with disadvantage die. So in combat, enemies go first, and then heroes go. Ooh.
Guess we get to learn what the backpack does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Yep.
See if I can make it up. So, luckily for you, I rolled a 92.
That's pretty high.
It is. That is higher than their flintlock skill. So there's a jerk, and it must be from the electricity kind of jolting them.
Yep.
Sorry, I was trying to be not distracting.
Sure, it's fine. Well, I mean, I think we are kind of reaching our climax right now.
Yep.
The jerk and there's electricity and the flintlock hits and there's a spark and the bullet just kind of goes flying past you. You from outside hear kabow of a gun going off. Everything according to plan, you hope.
Yep, I hope that's one of our guns.
So then the lieutenant will basically just kind of vault over the table and attempt to thrust at you with her saber. That is much better.
That's not good for us. I do like the
right.
lieutenant, though.
So, they rolled a 46. Sabers do plus 30 damage.
Okay.
But they also rolled a disadvantage, which I'm going to say, is again the electricity, the shock, still a little wiggly. So only 66 points of luck as the lieutenant slashes you.
That's how much damage is done to me? 66? Okay.
So, Pedro and Cloud Von Boom, what happens?
I see him. I'm up from the chair with a jolt, and I scream, "I'll chase him out of here," and run towards you.
Sure. You're still trying to maintain the ruse that you're a guard?
Yeah. I don't see why I'm not.
Sure. Okay. Why don't you roll deception with 2 disadvantage?
Deception?
Do you have any sort of lying skill?
Oh, yes. Lie to someone.
There you go.
8 with 2 disadvantages.
Okay.
I succeed, but I'm at disadvantage.
Great.
Do I just trip?
No. I think I'm just going to generate more heat so I can try to spend that. Great. What are you doing?
I see him running at me after these people have, like, floundered.
Yep.
I've got a button.
Sure. You going to hit the button to see what happens?
Damn you, alchemist.
I would suggest
can't blame
you get
you.
out of here.
All right, so you're gonna go Ghostbust him.
Yeah.
All right. I think this counts as anything else.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go crazy here because I have no idea what this does. Why don't you try rolling 3 advantage and 3 disadvantage dice on this? Because I think this could absolutely go either way. All right,
54.
so the advantage and disadvantage will cancel each other out. So you're left with 1 advantage. Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to push your luck to make
Yeah.
that succeed?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll 1 more disadvantage.
Nothing.
Okay. So you succeeded with advantage. All right. So, yeah. So you just basically push that, and then just like Winston's gun from Overwatch, just lightning just arcs out everywhere, like hitting the table, hitting the saber, going through the saber, through the lieutenant, into the other chair. Yeah. And so the lieutenant is just like, "Wah!" and then collapses. And let's see here.
He's that is the
What if we didn't
flintlock
kill the
metal too?
lieutenant?
Huh? Partly.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't help the Inquisitor's position, but the Inquisitor is not taken out quite so easily. Yeah. Okay. Great. So yeah, the lieutenant just collapses basically, and the Inquisitor falls back on the desk and pulls out a saber. So outside, I'm going to spend 4 more heat. For like 2 more city watch to just kind of come on patrol around the corner and basically bump into you guys as you were running pell-mell out of the prison. And they like the camera also shows like the windows of the prison as you know the jail. The sun is just rising, and then there's like just sparking electricity inside, and they're just like looking at you, and they draw their sabers. So
Of course they do.
yes.
Well,
Right,
it's
yes.
kind of nice that I have what's his name with me because we can still pretend like the
You're
guy
nobles, yeah.
is Edward and not
Sure.
Master Grimes.
Are you going to try to do that?
Well, they're ready to fight me, right?
Well, you are extraordinarily suspicious.
Yes, I am very suspicious.
How would Karina Delaclure deal with this situation?
Probably just fight them.
Okay, all right.
Let's do that.
All right,
Yep.
so they're gonna swing at you and miss. And yeah, so they're both just kind of shocked and just like hold their sabers up, menacing but not particularly effectively. So you just want to
Sure.
go murder the shit out of both of them?
I mean, can we run away? Does that seem like a reasonable option?
They'll chase you. I mean, it'll be complicated.
Yeah, I'll just
You
go.
could also just lie.
I could lie, although I'm not very good at that.
You're good at murdering people.
I'm good at murdering people. I mean, I could try to lie first, and if that doesn't work, murder them.
They'll get another attempt to attack you.
No, I'll just murder them.
Remember, you get your
I
2
do.
advantage dice.
That's right. No advantage, but I do succeed
Okay.
at the stabbing.
Great. So you
For
just
one of them,
so you
just
quietly
like-
just stab one and he
Yeah.
drops. And then roll percentile for Ahmed Vantonio.
Just percentile, right?
Yep.
79.
So he just starts like wildly swinging and be like, "Yeah, the plan, yeah!" Not accomplishing a whole lot.
Yep.
All
Right.
right. So back inside, the Inquisitor steadies himself on the desk and whips his rapier. Man. And you know, like an errant electricity kind of like arcs out of the table, hits the rapier, and then just shocks it a little bit.
Good day, sir.
So you're just gonna close the door? You're gonna try to disable the door in some sort of way? Great. Do you have a disable the door skill?
I got glue.
Do you have glue? Does it actually say glue in your equipment?
No, but
Oh, okay.
Smoke bomb.
Ah, there we go.
All right. Great.
Well, does your alchemist kit have like a binding agent?
Sure, I'm sure it does.
Sure. Like roll anything else.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Great. So you just like, good day, close the door, and then just binding agent the door. All right. So sounds like you guys are now going to exit stage forward.
Yeah.
All right.
the hell
so
out of
you
there.
kind of start running out, and you see them fighting like 2 city guard, basically. So they will swing at you and miss, and one will swing at the unassuming
Wait, how
Master
many were
Grimes.
there to start with?
There are 2.
Didn't I kill one of them?
That's right, you did.
Yay!
And he swings at Grimes and misses.
All right.
All right. So what would you like to do now?
I kill the other one.
Okay. Single-minded.
I mean,
You still
Over
get
here.
your
Bandages.
71 is under 80.
Great. So he was like swinging at Grimes, and you just come up. Like, how do you kill this last guard?
It was, I don't know, quietly. He needs to not kill Grimes. That was the whole point
Okay.
of this
So you
thing.
just like this whole fight, you've just been like calmly murdering
It's
people.
Yeah.
So he's like, "What the hell is happening?"
It's just another day
yeah.
for
So
her.
you start
This is-
swinging, and you're just like, stab. And the guard drops. So now you have 2 dead guards out front. Ahmed Vantonio, who's like, "Yeah, what's next?"
I need to poison him as well.
You guys come running out front. You were extraordinarily
what
worse for the wear. Like, you start walking slowly, and then you hear like bang, bang, a crack on the door, and then you might want to.
Go quickly.
Yeah. So, you're very worse for the wear. You are extraordinarily pleased with your Ghostbuster backpack.
You got a safe house, right?
Sure, you could spend your influence for that because you do.
Oh, yeah.
You do now have kind of a ridiculous trail of.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. All right. Great. So, where is the safe house that you retire to, Mummer?
Somewhere else.
Sure, but this is a
away.
Mummer safe house. So, like, where would the Mummers keep someone safe? Like in the middle of a playhouse, opera house.
At a nearby pub in a sub-basement.
Okay. Great.
Because
The
it's
nearest
drink.
comedy club.
Yep. So you guys exit to that area, basically.
We should not take Ahmed.
Well, unless you have a way to deal with Ahmed,
I mean, I don't know what that
this
is.
is going to be an amusing post-credit sequence as you continuously try to rid yourself of Ahmed. Yeah, so
I'm
you have
wounded
you
to
have
do anything.
successfully completed the mission to leave with Grimes.
Yep.
Unharmed.
Yes, unharmed. You didn't quite get to the point of embarrassing the crown.
I mean-
Although basically, as you guys walk away in the distance, you hear poof, and then there's like some smoke that rises as your bomb probably went off at some point.
Forgot about the bomb.
I didn't.
After
Yeah.
all of that, just
Yeah. So, but like there for the stream, there are a couple like the bounty hunters we didn't pick up on, but
Yeah.
you said that you needed to leave in about 10 minutes,
I do.
and
I'm
it
sorry.
seemed like we were reaching an emotionally appropriate climax, as you had barely rescued Officer Pedro
Officer
from the
Pedro.
clutches of the unknown Inquisitor. So the post-credit sequence is basically this: you guys rushing through town, dodging patrols running left and right, and then like ducking into the sub-basement. And every time you're trying to be like, yeah, Ahmed, go run that way, and you guys try to run the other way, and then Ahmed like runs off, and then turns
I
around and
almost
then
lost you
runs
guys.
after you guys, attracting attention of the guards. And you are unable to rid yourself of Ahmed Vantonio. But he's pumped. Like, this is great stuff.
We just got to train this guy.
And
like a
but
puppy.
the final scene of the movie, so that's basically the credit sequence where the credits roll, and then it's all the black credits, and then
Yeah.
like the post-credit sequence
Shawarma.
is no, it's not shawarma. is
those shawarma.
the Inquisitor with a little bit of like basically the Inquisitor taking notes, and you see setting down sketches of all of the 2 of your faces.
He finds a little card in his breast pocket. It says Paco.
The sketches of the 2 of your faces, and it kind of zooms out, and it on like a wanted poster kind of parchment, And then the Inquisitor twitches a little bit and twitches a little bit involuntarily from some sort of electrical shock, perhaps. So, were we to continue playing, that
We have
might.
a new enemy.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
And yes,
And I think
it
my
is.
cover
It is
is
definitely a
blown
new enemy.
Always now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
We'll back it because it reminded me of a quicker version of Edge of the Empire, the Star Wars role-playing game from
Sure.
Fantasy Flight Games. I like the advantages, disadvantages. Very story-driven. Simple dice resolution.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess for the purposes of the stream, how did it make you guys feel? And I know that I think that both of you have to leave pretty quickly. But is there anything that you would like to share to the audience at home?
I don't know. It was fun.
This was
It was
fun.
nice to not get. Sometimes I really like getting into a character and coming up with all of the backstory, and sometimes that's too much. And this was nice and simple. Pick 2 cards, they go together and create a character, and
Sure.
and we can get right into the game.
How did you feel having to try to come up with a plan and improvise a little bit?
That is harder for me. I still like it, but being able to bounce ideas off of you and just be able to say, I don't know, took the pressure off. I could still have ideas when I had them, but not have to create everything myself.
Great. Well, I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
How about you, Von Boom?
I like pulling stuff up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Most important question. What was the crew name?
We didn't come up with a crew name. I mean, something to do with explosions or distractions or cotton candy.
The Fiery Tempers.
Fiery Tempers? You should know the Bathroom Brigade. All right, so this was the Fiery Tempers. We all like that?
I'm fine
I
with
like
All
that.
right, Fiery Tempers.
I think we've all had bathroom experiences that are like that, so this works out.
Well, I mean, Paco kept them varied, let's say.
There are many experiences one can have in a
It's the
bathroom.
go-to.
Yep, Paco definitely had a signature style. I need to leave the scene. I need to go to the bathroom.
Can always count on number 2.
All right. Any questions or anything else you want to say?
I want to play more.
Yeah, I'd play again.
Definitely. Dust City Outlaws. Very good game. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Thank
I'm
you,
glad you
Rodney.
had fun.
Yes, thank you, Rodney.
Thank you for bringing this joy into our life, Rodney.
Yep.
Indeed. And thank you for running Derek.
Sure, of
Indeed.
course. All right. Then at some point, we're going to wait for Eric to come around and be like, we're done. We're good. We're out.